敗北を遅らせるだけの悪あがき。寝ぼけたことを抜かしやがる。今の強さのその先が存在するという神ともあろうものが早計も甚だしいぜ。一体何なのですか、この熱さは。
孫悟空の発する熱気がここまで。
何をしている。早く終わらせろ。
幾度となく限界をぶち破る俺たちサイヤ人の姿。
One, two, three.
'Now look, you spent all that time saying it wouldn't be a challenge, and now you're giving up without a good fight. That's very rude. Vegeta, I hate to interrupt your little nap, but I think it's time we should continue.
Why? You...
But first, there's one thing I'd like to mention. I must thank you for sparing me before I became complete, regardless of how utterly foolish it was. You see, I've been waiting for this for a long time, and it's always nice to see a helping hand.
island is challenging his attack! Okay, that's one explanation. How about this one? Vegeta's lost his mind and he's gonna fry us all!
Sir! Once again you have taken for granted the powers of a true Saiyan warrior! Now if you really want to test your strength, stay right where you are!
You're going to destroy the whole planet, Father! You've got to stop it! Trunks, let's go!
Final Flash!
What's this?
Did you like that?
Father knew what he was doing all along! He focused his blast only on Cell!
You say stand up!
この俺様の意図で貴様はもう動けまい。さすがは俺だ。貴様こんなもので俺様の力を封じ込めたつもりだったのか。ベジータ様の力を侮るなよ。 He's the one, the Saiyan of legend.
もしかしたらあれは本来のサイヤ人そのものかもしれんのだぞ。
You, Kakarot, I choose you to be the first of my victims. Why don't you give up? I never really learned how to. Poor Goku, still not comfortable with the idea of dying. Goku. What was that supposed to be? Goku, if you had just let me kill you all before, you wouldn't be dealing with this pain now. Your own complete and utter waste of Saiyan blood. Kakarot! I am Prince Vegeta! If we let this dirtbag live, he'll continue to destroy the entire universe. Vegeta! More power! Right now! Finish him now! Your hour has arrived.
So, kid, what's your name anyway?
My name is Goku, G-O-K-U. What's yours?
My name? Mine?
Uh-huh.
Bulma.
That's funny.
Hey, Goku's not exactly normal, so there.
Yeah, but it's not as weird as yours.
Float away, your voice I'll never hear. Only silence. Where are you when our hearts will bleed?
So we meet at last. We have been expecting you, Kakarot.
I don't know who this Kakarot person is you're looking for, but I'm not him. My name's Goku.
Can you stand the pain? How long will you hide your face? How long will it be your brain? Are you afraid?
That little bald guy was my best friend. His name was Krillin. Yeah, how could I forget that? Now die!
I watch the city burn. These passions slowly smoldering. A lesson never learned. Only violence.
Disgrace! At the hands of your master! You
I don't believe it. How could you fail? You're Goku. You can do anything.
Can you stand the pain? How long will you hide your face? How long will you be afraid? Are you afraid? Will you play this game? Will you fight or will you walk away? How long will you let it burn? Let it burn. Let it burn.
I spared no one, and yet you showed mercy to everyone. Even your fiercest enemies. Even me. Yet you never fought to kill, nor for revenge. Only to test your limits, and to push yourself beyond them. To become the strongest you could possibly be. How can a Saiyan fight like that, and at the same time be so gentle that he wouldn't hurt a fly? It makes me angry just thinking about it. But perhaps it is my anger that's made me blind to the truth for so long. I see it now. This day has made it all too clear. You're better than me, Kakarot. You are the best.
Can you stand the pain? How long will you hide your face? How long will you be afraid? Are you afraid? Will you play this game? Will you fight or will you walk away? How long will you let it burn? Let it burn. Let it burn.
Why don't you give up? I never really learned how to. I will not let you destroy my world!
And now we end the story of the Dragon Balls, with the hope that the Earth will never again see the kind of darkness that brought it close to extinction so many times. But if that day comes, there is one who will step out of the shadows and fight in the name of all that is good and true.
Till we meet again, guys! the bullet cold rocked ya. A yellow ribbon instead of a swastika. Nothing proper about your propaganda. Who's for the rules when the set commands ya? Said it was blue when your blood was red. That's how you got a bullet blasted through your head. Blasted through your head, blasted through your head. I give a shout out to the living dead. Stood and watched as the feds go centralized. So serene on the screen, you was mesmerized. Cellular phone sounding a death tone. Corporations cold turn you to stone before you realize. They load the clip in army color. Said they packed the 9. They fire it at prime time. The sleeping gas every home was like Alcatraz. And motherfuckers lost their minds. Just victims of the in-house drive-by. They say don't you say how high. Yeah. Just victims of the in-house drive-by. They say don't you say how high. Run it. Just victims of the in-house drive-by. They say don't you say how high. Just victims of the in-house drive-by. They say don't you say how high. Check it out. They load the clip in army color. Said they packed the 9. They fire it at prime time. The sleeping gas every home was like Alcatraz. And motherfuckers lost their mind. No escape from the mass crime rate. Play it again, Jack. Then rewind the tape and then play it again and again and again until your mind is locked in. Believing all the lies that they're telling ya. Buying all the products that they're selling ya. They say jump and just say how high. Your brain dead. You got a fucking bullet in your head. Just victims of the in-house drive-by. They say
So mote it be, so mote it be. Shout out to all my brothers through Freemasonry. Let's meet on the level. I earned 3 degrees, had to kill me cause they couldn't get my secrets from me. So mote it be, so mote it be. Shout out to all my brothers through Freemasonry. Let's meet on the level. I earned 3 degrees, had to kill me cause they couldn't get my secrets from me. Between the square and compass, I'ma keep it G. From darkness to light, steady traveling east. Made an oath with God while I was down on one knee. No matter what, they'll never take my apron from me. Nothing's for free, so you gotta pay your dues. In whom do you put your faith? That's for you to choose. Follow your conductor, hoodwink with no shoes. We can never lose, these cowards are so confused. Hiram built the temple, it's our job to protect it. Thanks to the Tyler, all alarms get detected. Uphold your virtue like the Supreme Architect did. They don't understand it, but I bet that they respect it. So mote it be, so mote it be. Shout out to all my brothers through Freemasonry. Let's meet on the level. I earned 3 degrees, had to kill me cause they couldn't get my secrets from me. So mote it be, so mote it be. Shout out to all my brothers through Freemasonry. Let's meet on the level. I earned 3 degrees, had to kill me cause they couldn't get my secrets from me. The beehive we are, so we share all the honey. Find a destitute brother and I'll lend him my money. The lies they tell about us we can't help but find funny. A traveling man, I consider myself lucky. Just one of many of Solomon's builders. With the 5 points of fellowship, you better be familiar. Before the winding stairs, you had to pass through the pillars. Misinformation has the uninformed bewildered. Making good men better, what more could I ask for? Using my tools to perfect my rough ashlar. Living a dream under the canopy of heaven. No homo, but I love all of my brethren. Recognized by a spoken word or a handshake. Living upright by following Elijah's mandate. Ask one to be one and you can become a candidate. I'm my honor, my obligation, I'll never violate. Freemasonry, so mote it be. Freemasonry, so mote it be. Freemasonry, Freemasonry, Freemasonry.
Fell through the night. I ran through corridors. I couldn't feel a thing. Only alone. Is it enough? Is it enough? Is it enough? Alone.
Oh man, there was a dude in here. Is he still in here? Prince of something, I think. Holy shit, hold on. There was a dude out of the 24. I was just thinking of like when you're stacking Prince of Freedom. Is he in here? No, I think he used to be in. Okay, so he got kicked out of their channel because he's a psychology student, and he goes, yeah, from the 24/7. Odd has been kicked out of the 24/7, so I don't know who runs that shit. But he basically was going, I don't understand how they can be conservative if they're flat earth. And because he
conservative, I'm lost.
Hold on. Because he revealed that he's not conservative, they called him a fake flat earther and kicked him out. Well, the whole premise of flat Earth is to go against the mainstream. This is I'm just gonna have to follow on. The whole point of the flat Earth is to go against the mainstream narrative. The whole point of conservative is to maintain the mainstream narrative.
No,
therefore, you can't have you know, conservative flat earthers.
That's more of that semantic bullshit.
Yeah, no, this was what he was arguing. So he's
the face of it.
I know, but that's what
Traditionalism means going along with the status quo. I guess he's confusing traditionalism with something.
I don't know.
Stupid.
But you're running. That's the kind of thing that you're running into. That really encapsulates the crazy. Where identity comes into it, where their mind meets the road, where all of these things they get fractally wrong come into play is because they tie things together in ways that we never could have considered.
Bouncing from one misconception to another.
Yeah, and because we're not built that way.
We find that humans generally are built that way. You can overcome it.
What is it I always say? It's easier to when 20 people come around the corner screaming, running away. It's when we were back in the day, it was safer to proceed to turn around, start screaming, and run away. It was just safe. It was safer not
if
to
all the animals come running out of the woods. It's always a good reason to think, well, they're probably not shitting me, you know.
And it's
maybe not a foreign white prank, you know. Yeah,
those damn lying animals running out of the woods. They're probably part of the Illuminati Masonic order. Oh man,
a big ass thing in there that scared the fucking shit out of them.
But that's the thinking these people have. There's got to be a reason that so many people are fighting, you know.
That's the Galilean fallacy that we must be over the we're taking anti-aircraft fire, so we must be over the target. Like it's the old idea.
Oh yeah.
Because you're being.
Why does scientism come up with so many things that improve our lives and advance us?
Well, the scientistamists work quite hard to do that. It's just to fool you into accepting everything.
Is it enough? Is it enough?
Yeah, well, you know, it's just personal failing, I guess.
I mean, all the failures of science are numerous and profound. The success of science is similarly numerous and profound. And I always
some things didn't work out. Yeah. Science is in the process of identifying its own errors and correcting them. That's why it's a valuable methodology for epistemological expansion.
Oh, that was the other thing.
I think I got an epistemology on my pants. We had a snorter last night, so I think it's the same one.
Yeah, that would be good.
I was just going back to that Prince of Freedom discussion because we covered epistemology, and because he was at least very open to discussing things that he thought and why he thought things. And one of the things that it came down to is because he's in a social science and your natural sciences tend to take tiny little shits on them. He's just against science because he thinks that they're all arrogant shitheads, right? Ignoring the fact that you can be an arrogant shithead and correct, but they feel inferior, I think is what it is. They just feel like they're being shat on. So they're just fighting power. It's not that the power is actually doing anything.
Yeah, I suppose that's for some people that might be true. They just think they're being bested by people who are cleverer than they are, and they don't like it. But I don't know. I think many people confuse competence with arrogance, and that's a mistake. And when you can support your position, it's not arrogance anymore.
Yeah.
Arrogance depends on you not being able to support.
Like, for lack of a better term, Neil deGrasse Tyson. He doesn't seem like an arrogant bastard.
I'd agree with you. Yeah.
Then there's I don't know what's his name, Aaron Ra. He's most often right, but he's arrogant.
I suppose I could piece out ways in which I thought he was arrogant, and Tyson as well, but they're separate from what he's able to support as an argument. So, I suppose you could consider his manner to be authoritarian, I guess. Like, to me, that's not arrogance. It's just you don't like the way he presents himself. But like the arrogance comes down to making a position that you insist is true without having any way to support it. This is an arrogant position, and that's how I would differentiate.
It's also what kind of audience you're used to dealing with. Bro, it's more used to dealing with people that will more or less put their fingers in their ear and go like, la 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 la, whatever you're saying is false. If it's false.
If you tell Aaron Ra the Earth is 6,000 years old, he's going to stop you. Sorry.
It's a natural process when you start dealing with people like this. You tend to get to be a little bit more arrogant, or at least more of a...
I think you just get more hostile. You get hostile because the first time you hear the argument, you're like, well, sure. And maybe not even the first time you hear, or the later times you hear the argument, but the later times you hear the same argument from the same person.
Jesse Ventura and our live studio audience. Gun control. This is something I've been very animated about all this year with all the various gun outrages, especially the appalling thing at the cinema in Colorado. Why is it that Americans, to me it seems, so many Americans cannot divorce their right to defend themselves with a gun to the apparent right to go and buy 6,000 rounds of ammunition, high-powered assault weapons, and go and murder Americans?
Well, the best thing I can tell you, Piers, is this. Mexico has strict gun control. You cannot own a gun in Mexico, and they had 20,000 people dead last year in the drug cartel wars.
But Mexico has a very particular problem involving drugs. I could cite you Britain, average... Well, let me just throw it back at you. In Britain, for example, an average of 35 people a year are murdered with guns. In Germany, it's about 40 to 50. France, the same. Spain, the same. Italy, there's a pattern here. America, 11 to 12,000 a year. This country has more guns than anybody else and more gun murders. It's inarguable, isn't it?
No, not at all.
It is.
Because I was in the Philippines, physically, the day Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law and made himself a dictator, and the first thing that dictator did, he gave the people of the Philippines 2 weeks to turn in all their guns or it was the death penalty. Now, why would a dictator do that? Why would he make his #1 priority when he took over as dictator to disarm the public? The Second Amendment is there, and it was put in there not for hunting and fishing like they like to say, because back when they did it, if you didn't hunt or fish, you didn't eat. It was put in there so the citizens would have the ability, if their government became oppressive, they could defend themselves against oppressive government. And I think that overrules all the gun deaths, because let's remember something. A gun is simply a tool. I have a gun safe at home, and I've never come home and heard those guns going off on their own. People kill people. All right, how many people here die because of car accidents of drunk driving? Do we go to the Ford Motor Company and tell them stop making these automobiles because people get drunk and kill people in cars?
It's a facile argument.
It's a what?
It's a facile argument. There's no equivalence between drunk driving and lethal firearms. My point is...
Wait a minute. A car is a 2,000-pound projectile that can go 100 miles an hour.
Jesse, I have no problem with an American believing that their right under the Constitution is that they can defend themselves, especially in their own home, if they're being attacked and they have a weapon.
It's also against government.
I have a big problem with a disturbed young man, as we saw in Colorado, being able to buy 6,000 rounds of ammunition and a high-powered assault weapon and go into a movie theater and blow away 70 Americans. I have a big problem with that. And nobody else in America in high office seems to share that big problem.
Well, I'll tell you what, Piers. I have a conceal and carry license. Had I been in there, I would have taken this guy out before he could have killed that many people.
Well, I think that, again...
But because, let's remember, police can't stop crimes. Police show up after they're over. Remember that. So when you talk about me not being able... If there would have been a legitimate conceal and carry in that theater, quite possibly they could have taken this guy out and saved people's lives.
Or you could have had the gunfight at the OK Corral in there and lost even more lives, couldn't you? That's what could happen. Anyway, let's take a break.
What roll of the dice would you like? You'd prefer to be unarmed? How many people here think I make crackpot points?
Yeah?
1. How many think I make sensible points? You're in the minority, my good friend. You're the minority.
I said you made some sensible points. Let's go to another audience question from Jared Grossman.
you've seen it all. And that is coming and you'll go far back east to tag, don't crawl. Play ethnic jazz to parade your snares on your five-grand stereo. Bragging that you know how the niggas feel cold and the sun's got so much soul. It's time to taste what you most fear. Right, God will not help you here. Brace yourself, my dear. Brace yourself, my dear. It's a holiday in Cambodia. It's tough, kid, but it's life. It's a holiday in Cambodia. Don't forget to pack a wife. You're a star, but let's meet you. Suck like a leech, you want everyone to act like you. Kiss ass for your bitch so you can get rich, but your boss can switch her off you. Well, you'll work harder with a gun in your back for a bowl of rice a day. Slave for soldiers till you starve and your head is skewered on a stake. Now you can go where people are one. Now you can go where they get things done. What you need, my son? What you need, my son? It's a holiday in Cambodia where people dress in black. Need a holiday in Cambodia where no kids ask for the rock.
と嘆くにはあまりにも時は過ぎてしまった。まだ心のほころびを癒せぬまま風が吹いてる。一つの目で明日を見て、一つの目で昨日を見つめてる。君の愛のゆりかごでもう一度安らかに眠れたら、乾いた瞳で誰か泣いてくれ。 絶望と罠が仕掛けられてるこのチャンス何が良くて悪いのかコインの表と裏みたいだどれだけ生きれば癒されるのだろう
feels the need to go back and reinvent the wheel every fucking time they want to do something new. So what you have is an entire group of people who've moved so far beyond whether about the shape of the earth, they don't care anymore. It's not the topic of discussion. It's not something that they worry about because they have to move forward and be productive. If we did things listen.
But this is what I'm trying to say. You're saying they don't care, and there's a reason why they don't care. And that's the point, because they accept what they've been told. Why am
you accept what you've been told. You accept that the
Flat Earth is here to change that. To change that people.
No, you're not changing anything. Look, you're talking. No, we're talking about two different groups. You're talking about laypersons.
You can stay in your astonishment and watch people convert to the flat Earth. Okay, and then you guys will have to answer the question that we're asking. Right now,
yes, I understand that you want to hold back progress, but that's pointless. Why is your goal to hold back progress?
You can
so every 100 years you want us to stop what we're doing. No, Chemo, every 100 years you want us to stop what we're doing to explain to you, as if you're children, what we've done in the last 100 years. Every 100 years you want us to just sit you down in a chair and explain in terms that you can understand. Except that the terms that you can understand...
Explanation is over.
No, we already explained it to you, and your conclusion was, I don't understand big word, and therefore everything you said is bullshit because I don't understand it. Well, that's fine. You can come to that conclusion. The rest of us keep producing positive results. That's the whole point.
Yeah, you can explain, you can show math, but there's a point.
No. We do show, we do demonstrate. We keep demonstrating to you how the physics and geometry of a sphere apply to the world around you.
Again,
and then when we do that,
that's the very point that I'm here. That's the very point.
We already did that. We already did that several times. They've done it several times here. They've done that several times while I've been in chat with you.
It became practical. It became practical as soon as we were navigating the Earth using navigation off the stars.
It became accepted.
No. It became practical. Do you know what practical means? Chemo. Do you know what practical means?
Chemo. Just because they told you.
No. Chemo. Do you know what practical means?
You guys will be forced.
Do you know what practical means, Chemo?
Not necessarily you, but agencies will be forced to give us what we want or admit that they can't. That's what will happen.
No, they already have given you what you want. They've given it to you in spades, Chemo.
They've given
you just like to sit around and appease.
They've given it to the public to appease, and that's it.
Chemo. Now listen. We can navigate. We have practical proof of the spherical Earth. We go into space. Practical proof of the spherical Earth. Orbital mechanics has been proven practically. And that's not practically as in maybe partially.
Again, listen to what listen. As you're saying this, try to hear what you're saying. You're asking me to accept. I could say yes, okay, I accept what you're saying and move on. But that's the point.
Do you agree that people could navigate the Earth?
Go around it. We've explained how they go around the Earth.
Has anyone asked Chemo to accept anything?
No.
Anybody here?
Not me.
The point is that you're trying to. Well, I'm not explaining it with you, Kurt. I'm saying to Moikman and.
I don't care who you're lying to, Chemo. I asked the question.
What we're saying here is that they're asking how, everything's been explained, and I'm saying, well, fine, you've explained everything. There becomes there's a time when things must be shown, proven, demonstrated.
Like navigation.
Done.
When you say that to me now, it's done.
The very fact that you're on the internet actually
again, when you say
all
to
the
me,
principles you're asking for evidence for.
Then you're basically saying to me, just accept what we tell you that it's been told. That
No,
we've done
we're
it.
not saying that. We have.
And that's my very point.
Kimo, have you gone out and done anything we've asked you to do?
I'm only one guy here with a bunch of you saying just accept it. So imagine.
No, we've never said that.
I asked him last night. I asked him last night for one single example of anything that he's been given that he's actually sat down, studied, and comprehended. He ran away.
Kimo, have you gone out and done any of the experiments we asked you?
No, none of the experiments can be done.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. No,
not without the right technology. Again, you're asking me to accept.
They can be done with your fucking eyes. A lot of these. So the point is that you haven't done. He doesn't have that. So the point is that you haven't done these experiments. The thing is that none of the people, as I've been sitting in here, and I don't do it, have told you to just accept what we're saying. What we have done is gone, here is something you can go do to verify what we're saying. Go do it. And your response is, no, I'm not doing that.
I don't accept it. Yeah, I don't accept.
No. We don't need you to accept it, guy. We don't care if you accept this shit. Just go out and do it yourself. Go out and do experiments.
Go outside. You may as well say, go outside, look at the sky, and there's your board.
No, that's not what we've done. That's not what we've done. We've asked you to take measurements, Kimo. We've designed an experiment for you that you can go out and test. You can go out and take measurements, and you can
know how big the ball is. That's all you need to know.
What?
From that, your ship goes over horizon 6 miles.
No, actually, we don't need to just know how big the ball is for anything.
Square mile. That's all you need. You don't need any more than that.
How did we get to the size of the Earth, Kimo? From what I was saying.
I wouldn't know how we found that out. We've been asking that for a long
time. We already told you. We already told you, and then when we explained it to you, you called it bullshit. That's not what I asked anyway. No, that's not. No. We explained to you how you could go test for the size of the Earth, and you called it bullshit, and then you didn't do the experiment, Kimo.
Yeah, we don't accept that.
My question is not how we found the size of the Earth. I'm asking how you jump topics to get to the size of the Earth. Because my topic right now is discussing your behavior and your lack of willingness to go out and perform very simple experiments that at most would cost you a few gallons of gas and some sticks.
None of these experiments will prove.
Why do you think that's true? Why do you think that's true? Why don't you think they would prove what we're saying?
That's not the criteria if you try and find out.
No. Don't mention criteria.
Yeah, that's
why
what
do you think. Why do you think they wouldn't prove that?
Something the size of this Earth, you need an observation. That's the only way you're going to know.
No, you don't understand what observations are. You can make observations that are related.
No way. If I put you,
you don't need absolute knowledge. Hey, Kimo, you don't need absolute knowledge. You don't need absolute knowledge, Kimo. That's a fucking red herring. You don't need absolute knowledge to come to a conclusion and claim knowledge. You don't need 100% certainty. You don't need to go out into space and see the Earth.
When you speak, try to understand what you're saying. This is why.
I do.
Because you're asking people to accept.
I'm not asking you to accept. I just didn't. I nowhere in what I just said asked you to accept. I asked you to go out and test your conclusion.
What they're saying as fact.
No, no, they're not. We haven't. None of these guys have. I'm asking you to go out and perform the experiments. Now, why aren't you performing the experiments? Why aren't you performing the experiments? And don't sit there and go, they won't.
Experiments. The average person does not do any of these.
I don't care about the average person. I'm asking you. You're not the average.
I do. This is the problem.
You're not the average person.
You can stay in the confines.
Are you the average person? Are you the? No, I don't. Kimo, I'm on the 24/7 Flat Earth channel all the time. I've spent hours just sitting there with no commentary, listening to what they have to say. Kimo, I just sit there and listen to them without talking. It's magic, Kimo. It's something you should try once in a while. Just listening without talking. I sit in there and listen to what they have to say. Okay? And when they propose, I go do something. When they have sat there and gone, hey, look, if you take this picture of this table and this cardboard cutout at perfect level, you see this result and it matches what we've what we see in the real world. You know what I did, Chemo? I went and replicated what they did, and then I went and made observations in the real fucking world.
Flat Earth Society, and his big proof that the Earth was flat was, hey, well, how come if the Earth is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour, how come when I leave the surface of the Earth in an airplane?
The Earth looks
Cut out. Yeah, or when he takes off in an airplane, the Earth doesn't spin underneath him is probably what he was going to say. Chemo. At no point have I ever said to you, you need to just accept these facts. Ever. I don't even expect you to believe me. I don't need you to believe. I don't want you to necessarily believe me. All I want you to do is stop making spurious claims and actually go out and do some legwork. That's all I want you to do. Actually stop sitting in here making these random claims you make and actually go out and do some legwork and do some experimentation, then bring back the result. And if you do that, Chemo, if you come back with experimental result and show us the data and show us how you perform the experiment and your methodology, and it shows that there is no curvature whatsoever, then we would have to deal with that. We would have to then deal with the fact that a proper experiment was done and it disagrees with our conclusion. We would just have to accept it. We do it all the fucking time, Chemo, about all sorts of things in our daily life.
An experiment in the canal, and it showed there was no curvature. What are you talking about?
Did you do it? Did you do this experiment? Did you do the experiment, Chemo? Because I'll tell you what. A video is not an experiment. Okay. Showing me a video is not an experiment. You don't accept videos, do you? If I showed you the fucking moon or Earth from the moon, you wouldn't sit there and accept that shit. I'm not going to sit here and let you link YouTube. I want to see the write-up. I want to see the methodology, and I want to see the data collected. That's what I want to see out of you, Chemo. If you can go do that, if you can go out, show me the methodology and collect data.
We don't have the ability to get high enough to.
I don't need you to. I don't need you to, dude. I need you to do the experiment that we have asked you to go do, man. You go do that. Go do that. You'll earn a lot of goodwill here. Because I'll tell you honestly, the more you try to dodge this very simple conversation about you going out and doing an experiment, the more dishonest you sound. Every time you sit there and accuse me of telling you to accept shit, the more dishonest you sound. So, I mean, you can sit here and sound super dishonest. I don't. People's opinion of you don't matter.
As a proof or evidence of a born, and I say that's not how you would find out where you live.
Are you telling me I couldn't find out my address if I just went out and made some observations and measurements and figure out where I am in the world? You're saying I couldn't do that? You're saying I couldn't go out and observe the stars?
You could only find out where you live, where your house is, if you looked at your house to know where the location, where it is.
No, so that's the whole point, man. I can do that, and then I can go out and take measurements based on the stars and see if the two line up. And what happens when my observations and my measurements and math all line up, Chemo? What conclusion can be drawn?
But you got to prove you got to prove that your house exists first. Yes.
What?
No, Chemo. You don't get to play this metaphysical bullshit with me because I actually understand philosophy. No philosopher sits around quibbling about existence anymore. That was a thought experiment. It's old hat. Try again.
You spoke about the house, yes, and you were referencing some things. So we observe the house, so we know that it exists.
Yes, yes. I already said we take observations. Explain what conclusion. Please answer the question. What conclusions can be drawn if I go out, make observations about the location of my house, and then take measurements, and the two line up?
First thing is to observe.
What happens when the math lines up with reality, Chemo? What conclusions can be drawn?
First step, though. You haven't observed the Earth, so how can you make any measurements?
I can go outside and look straight fucking down and see the Earth. Now, go back to my question.
So
what happens when our observations and the math line up?
Right up against your house.
Chemo.
You wouldn't know if you were looking at a house, at a flat, an apartment.
Chemo.
You know, a building,
what?
shopping center.
You're just making it worse for yourself, Chemo, because as you keep saying that, that's all the things we've been saying to you about why you don't understand what you see. Now, explain to me what conclusions can be drawn if observation matches mathematics and measure. What conclusions can be drawn?
What was just
Answer
said.
that question. What?
Just said a house. We agreed that we can both observe the house. Yeah?
No, Chemo, you answer my question first, and then I will follow you down whatever rabbit hole you want.
I have to get it right first. What you said?
No.
You said a house.
No.
See the house.
No, you're not trying to get what I said right. Answer my question. My question doesn't require the house. My question requires that you answer the observations and math matching up. When observations match mathematics, what conclusions can be drawn? Please answer the question.
To what though? What are we talking about?
No, doesn't matter. If your practical observations that you make with your eyes matches all measurements in mathematics, what conclusions can be drawn about the mathematics and our use of models?
If it matches all mathematics, what does that mean in terms of what?
I already told you. My location on Earth can be calculated from
math.
Yeah. It's trivial, in fact. It's accurate. It's accurate to within a couple
miles. How would you know where you are on the ball just using math?
That's not the question. What do we do when it matches up, Chemo?
Again, I don't understand how this is possible. What are you talking about?
What don't you understand? It doesn't matter. What conclusions can be drawn? It's a philosophical question, Chemo. You sat there and pulled up metaphysics. I'm asking you a philosophical question about epistemology and how we gain knowledge. What conclusions can be drawn if observations and the mathematical models and measurements match up?
Like I said, first of all, you have to be able to observe the thing that you're trying to match.
No, you're not. That's not the first thing. That's not the first thing. Answer the question.
You've got to agree that you have to observe the first thing, otherwise you just be
answer the question. Answer the question. Are you just not willing to answer the question? Is this the game you play right now? Is it just not answering a very simple question?
If it doesn't refer to something, it doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. That if you're failing to understand it, that's on you. You need to get over your hang up and your bias, and you need to actually answer the. No, what I'm saying here, Chemo, is that math can be used to model reality, right?
And again, this is the problem with the ball earthers. They are not very clear.
No, I'm very clear. I would imagine that every other human being in this channel besides you has understood my point.
There's a difference. They agree.
No. They understand. Agreement is not the same thing as understanding. You're right, but they can agree and understand.
The public agree with what you're saying.
No, I don't care about agreement. I don't. I'm saying they understood me. I didn't say they agree with me. I didn't say they agree with me, Chemo. Chemo, you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say they agree with me. I said they understand me. Do you understand the difference between agreement and understanding? They may think I'm full of shit, but at least they understand the words coming out of my mouth. So, Chemo, do you think that you can use math to accurately represent the world around? Try that question. It's even easier. It's a yes or no. Do you think that math can accurately represent the world around?
It depends what what you're using it for.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Can math? No, it doesn't depend because I have asked you a question that takes all context out of. Can math be used to accurately model the world around?
Again, like I said, it depends.
It's a yes or no. In any case, it's in any case. It's not an absolute statement. It doesn't require context because if it can be used to ever, in any case, model the world around it, then we need to move from that point on.
Obviously
so answer the question, yes or no. Can math be used to accurately model the world around?
So no. So then it's a no. Because if you can't model this flat Earth, the numbers are all wrong.
You can't model the flat Earth. We have already drawn up the models for you and shown how they don't reflect reality. Now, so you're saying no, math cannot be used to accurately model reality, correct? That was your statement? No, it's not according to us because we use math to model reality. We think it can. So you're trying to lie again, Chemo. You're lying, Chemo. You're lying, Chemo. Can math?
What I said about the house, we can both observe the house.
Chemo, answer the damn question. Can math? So your answer is no, math cannot be used to model reality. So if I can show you math modeling reality, if I
cannot use math for the world around you.
Yes, you can. No. According to everybody who understands the shape of the Earth, we do.
According to everybody who
will use math.
Remember what we said. The public don't use your means or methods to know where they live.
Hey, Chemo. Just because some of them can't doesn't mean all of them.
Yes,
so stop talking to me about lay people. No, stop talking to me about lay people. We might as well be sitting. Well, I'll tell you what, Chemo.
I'm down. Go on.
Children who are inside the womb
Are you
don't know
trying
about the
to
world
name-
around them. Now what, Chemo? What fucking
here.
point does that raise? Huh? Nothing. Right.
The
Got
ego
it.
is getting the
Good.
best of
Okay,
us,
Chemo.
see?
Now moving back to my point, if I can accurately show you that math is used to represent any form of reality, like I can measure the height of something, the volume of something, calculate the weight of water that my cup will hold just based on math, and it comports
Oh,
with reality.
you mean those things? I thought you meant the world. As in,
And that's just more of an example of where this country is really going, because in the future they're not going to need this type of technology. I think it's there for them to use, but clearly we've seen our youth being indoctrinated and kind of brainwashed with repetitive regurgitation over and over again that what they are learning is true, where in fact that it just isn't all what it's cracked up to be. So I'll do some more stuff in the future, and check out my channel, guys. Authentic Intent.
Excellent. Well, just as you say, mate, as you say, it's repetition is what has brought this about. So it's the same for us. We have to be repetitive in our approach and putting the information out there and engaging with people. Repetition, keep it up. Eventually, people will come round to it. It's just the same tools, same methods that we have to employ. So good on you, man.
Yeah, you too. I really appreciate what you do over there. And gosh, if we come across some money, I'd love to head out there and cause some trouble with you.
Aye, be good, mate. Be good.
All right, man. Yeah, you too. Cheers.
Take care, buddy.
I have, and most people, but
well,
with him,
for blatant if, then surely you would be looking at the mechanisms of how that came about and what their psychology is and how it led up to that point, rather than just, it's this inanimate object's fault, let's get rid of that. Obviously it's a total lunacy, so it tells you that there's an agenda.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Bullets kill people, not guns, so they already got that kind of more mind control of, we need to get rid of the guns. Well,
it's people.
I've said this.
People kill people. You don't need a gun. And if you take away the guns, then what? They're going to use knives. So you take away the knives, what they're going to use next? They're going to use a rock. Take away the rock, they'll find something.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a people problem. Big issue is, let's even take it for face value. Let's say that there are really kids shooting up schools. Where are the parents? Like, should these kids? Clearly, the parents are not involved in these children's lives, and they have allowed the state and TV and movies and music to basically raise their kids nowadays, because the mom and dad are working 40 hours a week.
Exactly, mate. Again,
so
symptoms of this dysfunctional cult that we live in. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
Yeah.
How it's gotten this far. And I've said this too. I say this quite often when I talk about the whole gun control issue, is from the age of 13 till you're 18, you need to take a course on how to use a gun, hold it in your hand, shoot it, and respect it. Now, when you turn 18 and it's legal for you to buy a gun here, you can buy one or not. But we have cooking classes so you don't burn your house down in schools. We have all these other opportunities for kids to learn trades, cut wood. You're in a shop class and you're cutting plywood next to a bandsaw that could cut your finger off easily. So what's the big deal with teaching kids how to respect guns and shoot them and take them to the fire range? It's part of our law. So I can't see too many parents just saying, "Oh no, you're not allowed to go there." I think it should still be the child's choice. And spice and everything nice, and they'll still eat it, and then they'll come after you.
Yeah.
So they'll take that from you, and then they'll punch you in the face for even addressing it. And how dare you say that my education is a lie?
That's why I always say to people, there's a bit of discernment that comes with it.
I think that, I'm not a mentor. You know, I wouldn't call myself a teacher per se, but I would say like, hey, I could probably sit down with you and introduce some things, but I don't want you to be dependent on me. Like, I think that we here that are doing the open air activism are planting a seed and allowing them to find it on their own time.
Exactly.
You know, and be led to that. Do you think that's kind of...
Well, that's my... I know he put us up on...
Okay, even though every person's different, there's still kind of a script, if you will, a way to communicate the 2 or 3 truths that we know that the Earth is a level, motionless plane. And so we just got to make sure that we encourage each other, and then the new people that come in, we got to embrace those new people and take it for what they're worth. If they're genuine, they'll stay in the community, and if they're not, then, you know, let them go and do their own thing.
Exactly.
Let them learn on their own.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah. Just keep pushing on, keep pushing forward. As you say, you know, there's many people out there with different attributes and skills that I appreciate and name. You know, we're in a position that we do, you know, and everybody's get each to their own, you know, so.
Yeah, so what have you found recently? Have you found any new approaches or just new, how is it that you approach people? Because we see kind of, it's just the time when you're sitting down with somebody. Give us like an example of how you approach, you know, somebody so that you would draw them in. Is it a question? Is it something you do or what?
Again, before I even get to that, I have to be...
Thanks for the
on my toes,
subscription,
I have to be aware,
Ghost.
so I'm scanning, and I'm looking for eye contact, I'm looking for certain body languages from people, you know, because I've refined it, you know, not only, you know, not just in this aspect, way before in other aspects of my life, I was refining the kind of things for different reasons. So I'll approach somebody and I'll just say, listen, you know, I'm a content maker on YouTube. I'm asking the general public some questions. You know, I'm looking to see if you would maybe take part in it, be on video. They'll probably ask me, you know, what's it about? And I'll say, well, it's about common sense, the world we live in. If you heard about certain subjects, blah, 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 can I lay a wee bit out for them? Assure them that I'm not there to take the piss out of them. And, you know, if they say, yeah, bang, the camera's on straight away, agree. You know, I see sentient beings.
KFC, it's cooked. Believe we can answer that.
So you're breaking up, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'm getting the echo. Is it gone?
It seems to be clearing as you go on a wee bit there.
Okay.
It seems to be all right now.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Del, glad to finally talk. Of course, watch your videos. I love your, you know, going out in the streets and teaching people the flat Earth truth. That's important, you know, and the way you do it, there's no messing around, and you know your stuff, and very confident because you know your stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and that's very important. And that's what I tell people. If you're gonna go out there talking about flat Earth, you got to know your stuff. Like I said before, you know, for the people that believe in the ball Earth, ask them what are the so-called dimensions, the radius, the diameter, the circumference of the so-called ball Earth you live on. Yeah. When they can't answer that, you got them right there. So, you got them in a handicapped position. Like, whoa, I can't even answer that. How far is the moon? They don't know, but they're so sure about what they believe in, but they know nothing about what they believe in. So when you put them in that position, maybe they'll start listening a little bit, you know. So, but first off, I want to thank Roxanne too. Roxanne, she's the one that chimed in on my channel that I just restarted, a new channel. I've been shut down countless amount of times, and she made me aware of the time in the UK where you have your chat. And there's many topics I want to talk about. The meat eating versus, say, vegetarian, being a vegetarian or a vegan, and the march for our lives, and of course flat Earth. Yeah. And I really want to talk about, you know, people that believe we evolved and we're a higher animal. You know, all these animals, if we're a higher animal, then why aren't we eating, you know, animals as animals, raw, uncooked? Why aren't these animals, why don't you see like a lion with a match in a pot or a pan cooking up food? If we try to eat raw food, consume raw food, what's going to happen to us?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it comes down to a taste preference. I think it's habits that have been cultured, and people have become accustomed to tastes and different things, you know.
Well, Pat, I'm sorry, Del. You know, the thing is this: what are they pushing? How many vegetarian restaurants are on the fast food level? You got Burger King, you got McDonald's, KFC. It's all pushing eating meat. You know, whatever they're pushing, don't buy. So that's what they're pushing. Bacon. Everybody loves bacon. That's what they're pushing. They're not pushing eating fruits and vegetables. That just tells you right there. You know, it's like, you know, like anything else. You know, that's what it comes down to. And as far as people that believe in evolution, that's fine. But think about this for a second. Myself, I grow a lot of fruits and vegetables. You know, you're required, for example, plums. You have a Santa Rosa plum. You're required to have another different type of plum to pollinate your Santa Rosa plum. That requires a bee. So how does evolution know this? You will not have plums if you don't have a bee to pollinate from tree to tree. That tells you something right there. And it just so happens fruits and vegetables has everything we need to sustain ourselves. You know, and there's protein, you know, and fiber in fruits and vegetables, specifically vegetables, but you don't get the fiber in meat. You just get the protein. So that tells you that, you know, fruits and vegetables have more benefits than just the meat alone. So,
well, I think
I'm going to go on a tirade about pushing not eating meat. But me, I'm almost 44 years old, never been to the hospital. I avoid all sodas. I avoid what they push. Whatever they push, I'm not buying. And that's simple. You know, go ahead, Go ahead.
See, I think it comes down to a bit of balance, man, you know. And right now, at this moment in time that we're in, as I've expressed before, we don't have the compass for the full objective facts of this reality, this existence, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So I think it comes right now at this moment in time, it comes down to personal choice. And I'm in total agreement, you know, from my stance and my personal.
Yeah, well, you know, as simple as this, the way I look at it is like this. You know, it's nothing new. People say if they're, you know, if we came from monkeys, why they're still monkeys. We always been humans and always will be. We're not going to evolve into anything else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the microevolution, there's adaptation, but there's no evidence of macroevolution. They're desperate to make us believe that, but there's nothing to it. You know, it's like this. Of course, in the public school system, which is really the government school system, they just cleverly disguise it by calling it public. They're pushing evolution. They're pushing it. So, you know, for example, like I said so many times, if they tell us the sun is 93 million miles away in deep space with no oxygen, you know it's much closer and much smaller. So everything's on opposites. Whatever they tell us, you know it's the exact opposite because the mind can't go from A to Z. Once you're taught A, it can't go to Z. That's why it's always the law of reversal on opposites.
I think that's true in certain cases, but I wouldn't apply that to every single aspect. I would always
Dude, that's fucking stupid. Wow, Del actually noticed that was retarded, what he just said. Nice.
That's definitely a tactic that they use. So I would agree with that, but I wouldn't apply it to every single thing.
If you believed that the opposite of true, whatever, what Russian Vid's philosophy, if you follow that shit, then they would just use reverse psychology and it would work 100% of the fucking time.
From primates or
it's like GG easy, nigga.
How the body works. So I'm not saying they're working on opposites with that, but the foundation of we came from an explosion, which explosions destroy things, doesn't create things. So but like I said, when the foundation's a lie, pretty much everything else after that's a lie as well. There's no truth in a lie. But like I said, if everything was an absolute lie, it'd be easy to detect. So, you know, it's a clever of mixing truth and lies. So the foundation of how we came about, but they can't lie how blood works and how our heart pumps and how our organs work. No, but the foundation of how it all started, how it created, you know. And like, for example, you have a coelacanth fish that was supposedly extinct for millions of years. There's supposedly 350 million years old, but you still have the coelacanth fish living today in the Indian Ocean, which is identical to the fossils that are supposedly millions upon millions of years old.
I think
so.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think people overlook fossils and, you know, if fossils being real fossils, how that would actually happen. And it would have to happen through rapid burial. You know, an animal dying on the surface of the earth, you know, doesn't fossilise things or fossilised through rapid burial. And I've seen some religious people use that as a possibility to back up the idea of a kind of catastrophic flood. And for me, you know, I look at some of that evidence and it kind of points to that, like the petrified trees, fossils, these different things. But the way they're attaching it to the, as I say, the neo-Darwinian evolutionary story, I think it's just total hogwash. But there's some stuff there that I think that merits people's investigations, that may tell a different story to what they're actually pushing, you know?
Well, you see some of these petrified trees standing straight up.
Yeah.
Until it's wrapped. And the thing is this: if it's, you know, each layer of this so-called the sediment it's around, how is the top portion of this tree that's standing straight up surviving as the bottom portion is slowly petrified into fossil? So the top of the tree should not be there. That's just proof that it's, you know, basically it was all buried at once.
Yeah.
You know, and that's as simple as that. So bottom line, there's even a cowboy's boot that's fossilized. So the whole idea of fossils being millions upon millions of years old, and that's what they push. We have to understand it's that simple. They're pushing this world that's millions and millions of years old. You know it's the opposite.
Yeah.
You know it's the opposite when that's what they're pushing. You know, so there's no God.
I think it just all adds to the situation that we're in. We really don't know anything. And I think the sooner people stop clutching at hypothetical stories and historical stories and start getting real, then we may make some progress. But right now, you know, these ideas, concepts of should we eat meat, should we treat animals like this, all these.
So what's the opposite of the Earth being 1 million years old or whatever he said? Even though they say, I think it's more than that, but the opposite of being 1 million years old, so we're like negative 1 million years old. We don't even. The fuck.
Feed an animal, how much water it takes is taken away. It takes so much away where it's unbelievable. People don't grasp that aspect either. To feed them, to give them water and all that. But like I said, the bottom line is whatever they're preaching, you know, whatever. It's like this. I want to mention this as well, where science is deceiving the masses, where these organized religions and the churches, the big churches, the televangelists are definitely part of the deception as well. So if the right one doesn't get you, the left one will. And they're both just giving you partial truth. And of course, I mean,
I think there's something like the meat industry, you know, people would talk about these things and say, oh, it was an agenda like we're talking about right now. But the fact of the matter still lies that people would have had to have bought into these things in order for it to flourish in the first place. So it's difficult to see whether or not, you know, something like the meat industry just has ended up the way it is through demand and people wanting the product rather than it being an agenda. You know, I think the agenda aspect comes because people are trying to preserve their power, their monetary gain through the meat industry, so they will advertise it, they will push it. But how did it get to that point in the first place?
Yeah, well, that's from those that run this world. But I put it this simple: if you go to a doctor, which I've never been to a doctor my whole entire life, I'm almost 44 and don't need one, until I'm like on my deathbed, then maybe I'll go see one. But the bottom line is this: if you go to a doctor, the ordinary person that sees a doctor, you know, they're never going to tell you, oh, you're eating too much fruits and vegetables, lay off. They'll tell you you're eating too much meat. You need to cut back, you know. And so that tells you right there. No doctor will tell you, you know what, I'm sorry, but you're eating too many vegetables. You got to cut back. You never hear that. So that's a clear-cut sign. To me, it's very simple. But I'm not here to preach. And, for example, I go with friends, and then I consume a steak and shrimp dinner while I'm having my vegetarian meal. So I'm willing to accept people's. I'm not like a snob with it. I can't stand vegan and vegetarian snobs. They wear their vegan shirts. I don't believe in that
keep
crap.
mentioning it though, out of the fucking blue.
Don't do
like,
that. You come up as like you're whole and high, you know, high and holy. Don't do that.
Even though Agenda 21 says they want us to be vegan and vegetarian, I guess you didn't research that. You fucking excellent researcher.
Do what they do, you know. I'll go to someone, and they'll have a, you know, like I said, a meat pizza, and I'll have a veggie pizza, and we'll talk. No problem. You know, so keep it simple like that.
I think Russian Vids is a Russian spy.
Offer the kids the option and show them the reality of the situation and let them make their own minds up. And again, it just comes down to the subjective preference, and that's it. I prefer not to contribute to it. You prefer not to contribute to it, and that's fine. That's the walk that I'm going to walk, and the walk that you're going to walk. If people want to continue to be involved in it, then that's their choice. I'm not going to try and preach to them or convert them in any way, shape, or form. You know.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is we all have our own free will to do as we please, and we could present things to people, but it's like this. If you're over at my house and I have a plate of food in front of push a plate of food in front of you, and I say, hey, Del, you got to eat this. You're like, get that the hell away from me. If I say, Del, here's a plate of food. If you want it, you can have it. If you don't want it, don't worry about it. You're more likely to try it. You're more likely to sample it. But it's all about the way you present things, the way you do things. So we got to be careful, But I wouldn't want to compare it to, say, a flat Earth, because this is something where this is very important. The truth of how we're being deceived in so many levels, and it's to keep us all dumbed down and away from the truth, And I said this too. This is so important, and this is worth repeating when it comes to someone like Dr. Oz, who pushes vaccines to millions upon millions of his followers, his watchers, but he can't convince his own wife and children to get vaccinated. He said on CNN, "When I come home, I'm Dr. Oz. I'm no longer Dr. Oz. I'm Mr. Oz. And my children and my wife, they don't do it. They don't get vaccinated." So he can't convince his own wife and children, but he can convince millions upon millions of people, of his viewers, to do it. So to me, it's just screams red flags, and it's completely ridiculous how people. To me, it's like this. I believe in a creator, and the creator created everything around us that we need. Fruits, vegetables, to sustain us. We don't need this man-made garbage. Like I said, when it comes to sodas, I don't drink the aspartame diet sodas. I don't drink high fructose corn syrup sodas. I drink water. None of the above. What they offer, do not take, do not accept. So to me, everything we need, eat things in the most natural form. When you cook vegetables, barely cook it, just like broccoli. Just steam it for a few minutes. If you want to boil corn, you turn on the heat, boil the water, turn it off, then throw the corn in there for a few minutes. Don't keep it on heat. After it's just a little bit cooked, you take it out. You still have it's still a little bit soft, but it's still tender enough to eat. So that's the way I see things. And I always say, keep everything simple. A lot of people try to make, like, for example, diets and flat earth very complex and complicated. It's not. Keep it basic so everybody can understand it.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to understand that as well, that you don't adopt if somebody's putting an eating plan up there on YouTube or whatever it may be, each individual is different. The whole point is that people have to experiment themselves, find out what works for them, and pursue their own endeavours rather than listening to somebody else's advice or somebody else's walk and then trying to adopt that. People can take these different bits of information and then apply it to their own life and then see what works for them, see how their body reacts, what they're missing, how it responds. And that's purely it. I think too many people get caught up in, the group mentality of, well, this vegan guru on YouTube does this, that, and the other, so I'm going to do that, and then
followers.
Yeah, you have to walk your own walk and find out what works for you. That's usually important,
You just hit the nail on the head there, Del. There's people that are so used to being followers of the mainstream that when they show up the mainstream, they become followers, and they're not free thinkers, or like they're locked into a channel. And I'm saying question everything. What I present, what everybody presents, and come to your own conclusion based on all the information that's out there. We can make mistakes too.
Exactly. It's just like you're saying just now, you're talking about your experience, and people are going to misinterpret that and say, oh, Russian Vids is saying that everybody should just eat vegetables and we're not allowed to eat meat. But that's not what's being said. Somebody like yourself is expressing their own experience. Yes. Share that with people, and it's up to anybody else if they want to experiment in that avenue or not. It's not that anybody here is claiming that that's what we should and shouldn't be doing, because as I keep saying, none of us have the objective facts of our reality, the bigger picture of what should be done here, if this is where we're supposed to be, if this is all that exists, how we should live our lives, how we should apply ourselves morally, ethically, how we should treat others. None of us have any of the facts of that. It's all just subjective. So nobody here in Russian Vids is not saying that either, that everybody should just stop eating meat. Listen to what individuals are saying and don't misinterpret it,
Yeah, exactly. And if someone wants to attempt it, I'm not forcing on them. If you're going to try it, it's like quitting cigarettes. You're not going to smoke 2 packs or 2 packs a day, for example, and then go from smoking none. You got to do a slow breakaway. And I'm nothing to point at you, Dubs. I know you're having a little smoke right now, but no worries about that. But I'll just say this: if you're going to do it, do a slow breakaway. Stop, for example, stop eating beef and then just eat chicken, consume chicken and fish, and then do a slow breakaway. But if you don't want to do it, that's up to you. I am not like Dell said, I'm not here to force anybody. And I just talk about this topic a little bit. I don't harp on it. I don't put myself as like some vegetarian channel or some vegan channel. This is just something I do. And like I said, I've been out to dinner with people that are eating. I don't give them a hard time about it. That's their choice. We can't force that.
It's a choice. It has to be an educated choice. It's not through ignorance. But like again today, I seen another video. Baby chicks born on mass scale, like you would not believe, and the treatment of these wee, innocent animals who are at the most vulnerable point of their life, and they're just being manhandled and mistreated. And for me, subjectively, my morals, my ethics just can't contribute to that. I can't allow that to happen. So it comes down to people are living in ignorance, eating these products without any awareness of what's actually going on, and I think that's detrimental and a huge part of the problem. People should be given the full facts. Things should be transparent and open. To children, we shouldn't be wrapping children up in cotton wool and hiding these things from them. Give them the full facts, let them see the scope of the full situation, and let them make their own choices. And someday, for me, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to take my kids to eat chicken nuggets and these things when I look at the treatment that these animals have to go through, because how can we ever expect to hold ourselves in any regard, or expect higher beings or any other being to treat us with any kind of respect when we don't even respect the other sentient life that's run about us? I think it's fucking absolutely ridiculous,
I agree. And
people
let everybody be
victims, yet they don't give a fuck about the other sentient life that's run about them being treated like shit every single day.
I agree 100%. You're on it 100%. And like I said, we should be on the same path, but it's okay if we don't agree on everything. There's no two people will agree. It's literally impossible for you and I. We agree on a lot of stuff, but we're not going to see eye to eye on everything. But bottom line is the main topics. We don't live in a freaking spinning ball. We're not monkeys living on a spinning ball. When you fly anywhere, for example, here's a better example. For example, you're enjoying a nice day out, a summer day. There's a light breeze coming from the north. How the hell are we spinning? One east to west. It's just ridiculous. If you get a light breeze, you see water like glass. You can go to a lake and the water's like glass. We're supposed to be traveling 70,000 miles an hour, spinning at 1,100 miles an hour. You throw a little pebble. In that lake with that glass, and you can make a ripple. But the speed we're traveling has no effect. So again, everything on opposites. If they tell us we're freaking, it's mockery. I don't want to get too religious, but the Bible says how we're flat, basically flat, stationary. We're not moving. We're fixed on a foundation, and they tell us the opposite. We're not only not stationary, we're not only traveling 70,000 miles an hour, we're spinning too. So they're making it more ridiculous. It's like the complete opposite. So I tell people, whatever they tell us, whatever they're pushing, it's the exact opposite. And I have to stress this about the churches. They make it so uncomfortable to go in that direction of believing in a creator, because they're so ridiculous with their goofy haircuts, their goofy hairstyles, and they're throwing the jackets around, hitting people. They never expose any of the psyops. They never expose any of the hoaxes. And they just go along, those poor children at Sandy Hook, or these poor children in Florida. And I want to mention this today, right now, Del, is they have this March for Our Lives, and they have this concept that's being floated around. It's on CNN right now, where they talk about how the march. It's called they wear the evil eye gloves, and if you look at it, it's the all-seeing eye on these gloves. And if you look at the all the symbols, it's obviously the all-seeing eye. Just like when you go to Masonic Lodge and they have the all-seeing eye of Lucifer on the top of their gloves. And it reminds me, going back to Sandy Hook, where they had that one promotion with, it was called, Remember Sandy Hook? Race for Chase. And it's all in blue and white, and you see a child doing the all-eye symbol, the single eye, the all-seeing eye. So this is like, this is like history repeating itself. And why does history repeat itself? Because the same ones behind the scenes. They love to repeat history. Just like I said so many times, why do so-called celebrities die in threes? They don't die in threes. They're hoaxed in threes. They go into retirement out of the public eye, And listen, these people, these famous people like Bowie and all, Robin Williams, they don't want to deal with, I don't want to sound derogatory, dumbed down sheep that don't know the truth of this world. They want to go to their own place where they're away from all the people that are dumbed down, and they're living a life, and they always tell us in these goofy cartoons like The Simpsons, Family Guy, how they're going to die. Like Chris Cornell, he has an album with him being hung, and he supposedly, gets hanged, hangs himself. And then you have, you also have, what's his name, from, not Soundgarden, from Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, all those photos with the gun in his head. He ends up killing himself supposedly later. It's all like revelation of the method, telling us what they're going to do before they do it. They're showing us.
Maybe they're away onto some other pond that's a nice oasis, away from all us fucked up crazies, Maybe that's what they are.
They are. Well, John Lennon said John Lennon was no hero, but he said, I think we're run by a bunch of psychopaths. I wonder what, but he was no hero either. But like Albert Pike once stated, of course, the highest, degree of Freemason in U.S. history. They have a statue of him right now in the Washington and mausoleum as well. Former KKK man and attorney, soldier, all this stuff. And he says, when the people need a hero, we'll create one for them. So they control all sides. Anybody that's propped up in this world, it's elevated Mason, just playing a role in the world stage. So just like Alex Jones, David Icke. David Icke never called anything. He never called any of these events out as a hoax.
No.
This guy from Natural News, that guy, what's his name? Michael Adams. I forgot his name. I think it's Michael Adams. He's saying real people died in these events. So again, the mixing truth and lies type of thing, where they're keeping people away from the truth, just like the churches. So I understand where a lot of people, that are awake, they turn a blind eye to the church. I don't blame them, because they're just as controlled as science is. So that's simple.
It comes down to something you said 5 minutes ago. What people have to do is separate subjective from objective, and anybody who's involved in truth seeking has to be able to discern and separate these two things. Always, if we're going to be any kind of community, we have to agree to be representing what we can prove objectively true, and separate the subjective aspects and leave them, as subjective, and then things would be cleared up and less muddy, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the thing too: is I've done a lot of videos covering a lot of events before they were so-called popular with the so-called conspiracy theorists, like the SFO plane crash hoax, where I call it a hoax, and people are yelling and screaming at me on my channel saying, "Oh, I don't see an agenda behind it." And what did you see after the fact? All these plane crash hoaxes proceeding right after that. Then they move from plane crashes to people getting beat up in airplanes. Yeah. So the theme of the airplane and the fear factor and with all that. So when you're the first to call something out, like when people were jumping aboard the truth bandwagon when it came to 9/11, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, there were real planes used." When you were the first one, when someone was the first one to say, "Oh, no planes were used," oh, you're a crackpot. What's wrong with you? It's whenever you're the first to call something out, you're gonna be, like looked at as they're gonna look at you sideways. So when we see the truth, we shouldn't be afraid to pull it out. And if people might not see it now, they'll look back and say, "Oh, Dell was right, or Russian Vids was right on this." So we should not be afraid or altered by public opinion. Just look at the Hitler rallies, where all these, it looks like hundreds. I'm not saying it's 100,000 people, but it looks literally like hundreds of thousands of people at these rallies, as far as the eye can see. And all these people are convinced that this man's legit and real. It's just easy to fool people. It's just hard to convince them they're being fooled. It's very difficult to convince them they're being fooled. And again, going back to what you do, going on this, hitting the streets and educating people about the flat Earth reality, I commend that. That takes a lot of balls, and a lot of people, they don't, make that effort, or, they just, they watch videos and, they'll talk amongst, other people on YouTube. But, I really commend you for doing what you're doing. You as well, Del, if you can, please. It's called Passport. Is, of course, if that was true, then the building should be tilting away. Why are they freaking still pointing straight up if that's what they're referring to?
The other aspects of that is that you never see it left to right over a greater distance. And, if you were to elevate a camera focused on that horizon point, as you elevate, the camera would continually have to angle downwards to keep up with the horizon, which should be sloping away from you as you elevate, but it never does. You know, you elevate that camera, the horizon's going to come up behind those buildings that you thought was hidden by curvature. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And those simple points, there are people who are yelling and screaming at each other in the chat of these kind of videos. Just point that out. That's one thing they cannot deny. They've never seen a freaking building tilt, ever. The only way is, and I covered this a long time ago, like maybe, what was it, 2015 or so, I made a video where they did a documentary on the Spire and the World Trade Center, the so-called Freedom Tower, where there's programming within programming, where they're talking about the Freedom Tower, and they have all these visuals of the construction worker climbing the spire, and you can see the so-called curvature of the Earth, but he's obviously using a fisheye lens, where the lens is flexing, where sometimes it looks like a ball, sometimes it's convex. It's completely convex, and you know, and same thing with jet fighters. I made a video about that as well, where Joe Rogan had that one goofball from that show Jackass. I forgot his name, but that one skinny guy that's always on crack talking about how people that believe in the flat Earth are a bunch of effing morons and this and this, you know, and his crackhead's trying to preach to us we're living in a ball. And they're talking about these jet fighters that go, you know, these high altitudes, what is it, I don't know, 40, 50,000 feet, because you can see the Earth as a ball. Well, I had made a video about that as well, where you can see, you know, the convex, the flex of the camera lens. You see the ball? Yes, you see the ball, but it also convex. And you see that, and I pause it right where the lens is, you know, and you see it right there in front of you. People want to see what they want to see, and they ignore the rest. You know, listen, Del, I spent a lot of time researching this before I jumped on this. I didn't just like on a whim said, oh, I'm going to be in this flat Earth. I did a lot of research, a tremendous amount before I put myself out there one way or the other. So, you know, and that's fine. These people behind the scenes that don't have their mind made up, but a lot of people are going to reject it before the evidence is even produced to them. So to them, we're wasting our time with them. We move on to people that do care about the truth.
It's just as you said at the beginning, and I've experienced that so much in my pursuits, that it's astonishing how little people actually know about the claimed model that they assume and believe to be true. So if they don't even know anything about what they actually believe in, then they're not going to be open to anything contrary to that, because they don't even understand what their own assumptions are, you know. So it's a difficult process with some people.
Yeah, you know, here's another thing too. When you go to university or college and you confront these students there, they're so-called higher level of education. Oh, they're spending a whole lot of money to be basically indoctrinated, so they're going to really fight. It's like you're telling me I'm being lied to. You're telling me I'm deceived. How dare you? That's what their subconscious is saying to themselves, and you can see their faces. Go ahead.
One of the last times when Gav was here, we went to Glasgow University again, and that was one of the responses. Well, we asked a question, and it was, well, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm sure there's a book that can give me the answer. Right and then, and that's somebody who's in the higher education aspect of it that's saying these things. I don't have an answer to that. I don't understand it, but I'm sure there's a book that has the answer. Like, wow.
No doubt. I find that hilarious and sad at the same time. What these people don't understand is these so-called teachers, professors, they're taught to teach directly out of these books. They cannot deviate. They cannot put up a second theory. They cannot deviate for a second. If they do, they're out of a job. That's actually, I have a friend that's big into flat Earth as well, and he had an argument with this professor about the so-called moon landing. And he was told that the professor looked him dead in the eye, and he winked at him. He goes, "Greg, I'm here to teach out of the textbooks," and he winks. And he's telling him, "Hey, I'm just doing my job, and I might agree with you, but I cannot go there because I don't want to put myself out there." But basically telling him, you know, "Hey, I'm with you, but I can't go there." You know, that kind of thing. You know?
Cult practices, you know, it's the cult teachings, and that's what's to be taught, and that's it.
Exactly. It's you know, it's hard. It's like I said so many times. It's like, you know, a CD-ROM. Once it's pressed, it cannot be changed. We must be like a rewritable CD-ROM where we can be record. You can press over it. You know, forget what we learn and start over. That's another thing I want to tell people too. Is, you know, some people are first awakening to this world deception, and they'll grasp some of the lies, but they don't realize how many lies and from the Trayvon Martin case to the LAX shooting hoax to the so-called ball we're living on, and the sun somehow burning in deep space with no oxygen, and all this rubbish, you know? It's like that song from Meatloaf. I said it a million times. Everything's a lie, and that's a fact. Life's a lemon, I want my money back. So they put the truth. That's another, you know, truth in lies, truth in movies, and music, and lies in the news. The world of opposites. Everything's an opposite. Where no one's going to believe, oh, it's just a song. Like the 21st century blues. How can we believe the earth is round? I just can't believe it. I just can't conceive it. It's all a big lie. But it's just a song. Do you think this band, we're sitting around, you know, the dinner table saying, let's sing a song about how we can't believe the earth is round. We just can't believe it. We just can't conceive it. It's given to them to mock. It's full of mockery. So it's like this too. And I try to explain this to people that are new to truth, that keep on talking about like Robbie Parker at Sandy Hook and how he's smiling and how they busted him, they caught him live. No, that was their intent, for him to come out at that angle, for him smiling. How do I know that? When he's leaving the funeral, he has a big smile on his face as well. So you see him smiling before the press conference, the next day after the supposed shooting, and the day after, or the day of the funeral, he has a big smile on his face. So they're telling you, they're mocking. And listen, they're telling the truth, not through words. They don't communicate through, you know, the Masonic Handbook. You know, they learn how to speak. They learn how to communicate without speaking, using signs, symbols, dates, numbers, and colors. They're telling you without speaking. This is all rubbish. Look at the man's face. He's smiling. He's telling you right there. It's rubbish. But he's not saying it with words. So there you go. You know? That's how they do it.
Exactly.
So, you know, sorry if I keep going on and on, but there's so much cover, there's so many lies, and there's so many, I hate to say it, so many brainwashed people out there, they cannot even conceive how deep it goes. And the deeper you go, the crazier you're going to sound. And then they start running because their mind, it's like the old future shock, where the human mind can't absorb so much at one time. It becomes flooded with new data, and they go bonkers and they just run off. So we have to introduce all this new information slowly. That's why Flat Earth is very important, but I wouldn't start someone else new on that right away. I would start, your news is fabricated. Look where they're lying here. Look where they're news repeaters. We've seen all those videos of them repeating the same script. Yeah. You know, I tell this to people, real quick, I tell this to people all the time, where you have all these people at CNN, Fox News, BBC, they're sitting, you know, behind a desk, reading off a teleprompter. They're not there. It's not their words. These words of supposedly what went down are given to them. They're just script readers. They're not news people.
That's it. They're trained in NLP. They just read the story. They know how to affect people with the right facial expressions and the smile at the right moment, the serious demeanour at the right moment. It's all just play acting, you know.
Here's one thing, Dal, I want to throw at you. You know, a lot of these so-called shootings and these bombing events, I always say it, you can't fake real. Where are the freaking tears? Even if there's no tears, where's the redness around the eyes?
Yeah.
You know, where's the snot coming out of the nose? There's none of this. But I watched local news of this one black woman, and her son was shot. She's snot bubbling and tears rolling down her face continuously. You never see what national and international news stories. You never see it. But see, that's become normal because that's all people see. So to them,
it's so ridiculous. Like, how can you judge how someone's gonna react to a tragic event? Like, people go through shock differently. There's no way to judge whether they're crisis actors or not. This is why your channel got shut down, you idiot.
How they love to put the truth in movies with that movie They Live, where the black preacher man who's blind, he cannot see, literally he cannot see blind, but he's telling people how they've been blinded to the truth. People around them have eyes to see, but they cannot see. People have eyes, but they cannot see. They have a brain, but do not use it. And that's society. Just regurgitate what you're told. Repeat what you heard off TV. Repeat what you read off the textbooks, and you're intelligent in this society. And that's the problem. That's the major problem. Nobody questions anything.
Keep up that passion, mate. You know, it's always a good thing to have. And keep pursuing it and putting out there what you're putting out. So you've got a new channel, you're saying?
Yeah, I just put it up a little while ago. I only have one video of me speaking because after I covered the Las Vegas shooting hoax, they terminated my channel. I tried more than I would say maybe 7-8 times to start new channels. Every time they're shut down, but there's with me speaking. So I'm like riding a very thin, skating on thin ice. I got to be very careful what I put out and what I say, and my titles and all that. So, I think I just gotta be very careful, of what I do, and I'm gonna try to put some good videos out there, but just keep the title vague, where it's not gonna raise any red flags. Because the most important truth, like for example, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but back in 1996, they had the so-called Atlanta bombings, where I put out a video where people were covering a lot of newer events. I said, this is going back further. And so I go back in time and I look at other events. In 1996, the so-called Atlanta bombings, I see a freaking cop show up at the scene where nobody has blood on them but him. The cop himself has blood on his left hand. He's covering with his right hand. He goes around smearing on people. And it's right there for everybody to see.
That's the problem with the TV, though. People are not critical while they're watching it. They go into autopilot mode. They believe the narrative and they're not discerning and looking for any flaws. That's why it's good to bring awareness to these things, because hopefully it triggers people into that, so that they're not passively looking at the screen. They're actually analysing what they're seeing and what they're hearing and trying to piece it together. That makes a huge difference.
Well, there's many other dots that connect besides what they see, what's on paper. For example, the so-called Atlanta bombing, the so-called Unabomber, the Susan Smith case, Joker Zarnaev, Jared Lee Loughner, the Zachary Masawi trial. They all have the same freaking lawyer, Judy Clark. For all these hosts, all these psyops. That's what I want to say too. These events, they fabricate them where the public, general public's deceived, so are so-called conspiracy theories like home false flags. They don't kill people during these events. Yes, they kill people through fluoride, through all the chemicals they put in our food, preservatives. But with these events, they want both the conspiracy theories to be off and the people that believe the news to be off. It's none of the above, and I said this a million times. This is the grand illusion, where the world's a stage. And on a stage, in the world's stage, they don't kill people like Gaddafi. Stage. Hitler. Stage. Bin Laden. Stage. They freaking said they killed the carrier after they killed them in Pakistan. Stage. Saddam Hussein. And I mentioned it's very important. I want to repeat this. Where they said they found him in that hole. The U.S. Marines found him in that hole and they pulled him out. This big fat guy, hiding in this little this rat hole. And right behind him is a date tree, a date palm tree, where those fruits only appear July and August. I'm a gardener and I know how certain fruit only specific times of the year. Those dates only fruit July and August, and then it's impossible. It is literally impossible for fruit to show up, those dates to show up in the tree. September, October, November, December, beyond until the next year. That date palm is full of fruit. That tells you they filmed that segment that supposedly went down in December, back in the summer. That's telling you Saddam Hussein's part of it as well. Yeah. You see all the photos of Saddam Hussein shaking hands with Rumsfeld in the early 80s. Okay, you see like Tony Blair, in the UK, of course, shaking hands with Gaddafi, and you see Masonic handshake. The world's a stage.
Of course, they're not going to get into these positions if they're not part of the club. I don't think anybody should be struggling with that concept or idea at this moment in time. I think it's pretty much obvious. It's who you know, and if you're party it, then you're in.
Yeah, it's like the nuclear threat with Russia. Just a fear. It was fear-based with Russia and the U.S. Just like you're repeating history with North Korea now. Every freaking week, they come out. The leader says in the North Korea, we have nuclear warheads aimed at the U.S. And nothing ever is going to happen, of course. Just like what they're told, where it's fear equals control. Just like the movie, The Road Warrior, where the Lord Humongous is holding Wes in that one scene, and Wes wants to get revenge for his slain friend who got hit in the head with a boomerang. And he goes, "Be still, my dog of war. We'll have a revenge. Fear. We'll use fear as our ally." And this is a George Miller production with Mel Gibson and all, and the whole crew. And they're telling you their concept of how, they use fear to control the masses. in every which way. It's like the Ebola, like what happened to acid rain back in the 80s. It freaking disappeared. What happened to the so-called Ebola virus? That just disappeared in thin air. And people have such a short attention span. The largest supposed U.S. massacre with Las Vegas, it's gone. The story's gone. It's all just, it's so easy to see we live in this contrived lie system for those that are awake. And I get frustrated. You hear my voice, it's frustration because it's so freaking obvious to me. And to you, people like you, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
It's so obvious. And they use the same pattern over and over and over. Come on.
Exactly. Just hope people will snap out of the apathy.
Apathy.
But that fear aspect, is drilled in through the family units as well. The family units use intimidation and fear on their children in order to achieve certain goals. I'm not saying everybody does that, but it's there. It's part of the whole culture. Do this or else, do that or else. It's fear is instilled through every aspect, not just from governments, but it's in the family unit. People need to realise these things are a lot closer to home than some external big bad guy. They're contributing to it just the same as everybody else. So.
Yeah, it's like just driving on the freaking freeway. In the U.S. here, approximately 35 to 40,000 people are killed a year annually, and you never hear that mentioned in the news, never. But they mention terrorist attack where nobody dies in this country, of course, from any terrorist attack. But that's what's always spilled out.
Yeah.
If they're really concerned about us, they would talk about the freaking safety on the roads. They're not concerned about that, of course.
Just like you were saying earlier, I used to think about these things years ago when there was like certain other wars happening on different parts, where I could switch the TV on and it would be the news. And I used to think to myself, how did the camera crew know to be at that exact location to watch the bomb coming in and hitting? And how did they have different cameras at different angles, all pointed in that very same place, like they had prior knowledge that that's exactly what's going to happen? So there's loads of aspects that people should be picking up on. I don't think there's many people are in any doubt that it's a stage and all these things are being played out and acted out. I think that's...
Joe, it's funny you mentioned that because I made a video a while back about the supposed battle with the Peshmerga on the border with Iraq and the so-called ISIS on the border, and it was covered by CNN. And you see all these civilians on the hillside with children, holding children, and they're all clapping during this supposed live battle and everything. And you look to the far right, you see a bunch of freaking cars parked there. Like these people were called, summoned to be there to partake in this. But it's ridiculous to believe, for example, these people on the side of the Peshmerga. What if the Peshmerga were wiped out and eliminated? What would ISIS move in and simply slaughter all these civilians with their children? But nobody considers it. It's so transparent. It's so transparent, and people don't even consider this because, the shock factor, like 9/11, people were petrified with fear after 9/11. They're taking karate classes, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's all a bunch of BS. 9/11 was nothing more than a controlled demolition of 3 buildings with a fantasy story wrapped around it. I said it so many times, with the towers coming down after 33 years, and the 33-year-old pilot with Mohammed Atta, everything's coded. These are occultists, so they're going to have that number wrapped around it too. There's so many agendas, not just one. It's the money. It's the ritualistic where, after it's like before the towers were built, they were planned to come down. Just like the groundbreaking for the Pentagon was 1941. Do the number 2001. Just like Bush with the New World Order speech in 91. All the ones in there. So all the years come up and they do things by the numbers. From the Pentagon 1941 to the New World Order speech in 41 to the New World Order speech in 1991 to 2001. So by the numbers, just like the OJ case. And I was the first to make a video calling it a hoax where, OJ was sued by the Goldman family for $33 million. Then 13 years to the day he was being acquitted, he was sentenced to prison for stealing back his own merchandise for 33 years. So people can't tell me they don't do things by the numbers. Oh my God, what an amazing coincidence. And also, OJ, who was number 32 when he played football, American football, and it was funny, they had these guards on this one TV show, and they were talking about OJ and and some of him supposed to be in prison, and while they're walking out of the prison, saying, "Isn't it amazing? What a coincidence! OJ's number 32, and he's in prison cell number 32, but he never spent a freaking day in prison. The only time he's in prison when they film him there for that day, then he's out golfing or doing whatever, you know. And that's the thing is, when you see all these so-called celebrities, for example, someone might actually spot some out in public, but they're like, "Oh no, that can't possibly be OJ because you know he's in prison." So it's someone that looks like OJ. Guy's wearing a hat. You see him from a distance.
Yeah.
You know, oh, and if you do mention him, if you do really see him, oh, it's just a look-alike, you know. And you know, I don't want to be called crazy, so I'm not even going to mention anybody. So that's the bottom line is you know, this lie system. People can't wrap their brain around. And also regarding the OJ case, and I mentioned before where you have the DA, Gil Garcetti, who's currently right now, you can see him on the Internet Movie Database. He's making movies and producing movies in Hollywood right now. Same with Marsha Clark. She was in a TV show called Pretty Little Liars. Another attorney for the prosecution, Christopher Darden. He was in a movie with Jim Carrey, a cameo appearance with the movie title Liar Liar. So you have Pretty Little Liars, you have Liar Liar, and Christopher Darden was asked during a CNN interview, what's the difference between being an attorney and being an actor? There's not much difference. We're both paid to, you know, each occupation you're paid to lie.
Yeah.
You know, so they're like rubbing your face as they lie. So all these events, people say, why would they lie? Why would they fabricate the OJ case? Well, it's to divide and conquer. It successfully divided a nation, and not only the nation, but many people throughout the flat earth. You know, so that's what it's about. You know?
Distracted and divided, that's certainly. But listen, man, I'm getting tired here. I'm going to shut it off shortly. So, I appreciate.
Explain.
Okay.
Why
No, okay. Then. Okay. Let's discuss that then. Okay. So I said pick one topic, and we'll discuss it. Okay. And now we have to stay on this topic, Chemo, because the minute you jump, done with you. I'm not going to discuss anything else for the rest of the day with you if you jump off the sun.
Oh,
so
done with
let's
me.
discuss the sun. So your question was, why does the sun look close, right? And my answer will be that the sun is super huge.
So I don't
big
accept
thing.
your answer, and it
Hold on.
sounds like bonk. I am done with you.
Well, why does it sound like bunk? So what you have to do,
Gonna
what you have to
explain
do,
why.
Chemo, what you have to do is address
I have shown your model. Stop. I have shown your model to scale. Okay, where the sun and the earth, the distance. I've shown this to absolute scale, and then I showed
Show me.
next to this.
I haven't seen it. You didn't show me
Well,
shit.
yes, okay,
know?
because you are a late comer. The point is, I've also
that's
shown.
fine, but you're discussing with me now, not everybody who's been here dealing with you forever.
And I've shown-
Go
and I've
ahead,
shown-
show me this. I haven't seen it. Show it to me.
Well, you're not on Google Hangouts, so we can't show the video here, can I? So.
I can join you. No, I'm not on Google Hangouts, but we're right here. You can link it in this chat, Chemo.
But the point, I have to point out certain parts of
your head, not the sun.
But the point is, anyway, is that it better be good, your answer. So, what we've seen a very fast sun in your model, and in reality, the sun is
Chemo,
overhead.
the sun, Chemo. We're talking about the apparent size of the sun.
Explain to me
so
why
show me
you say 96 million miles, but it looks like it's just overhead.
Well,
That is
okay. So
my
that's your
Agree.
argument, is that you think that it looks like it's just overhead, right?
Not that it
All
just looks like it is just overhead.
No,
yes.
it looks like it. Did you look at it with your eyes? Did you use your eyes to look up at the sun? Then it looks like it does.
If you
Did you
go
reach
into
out
a
and grab?
plane,
Hey, did
if you
you
in a
reach out and
plane,
grab the sun?
Yeah, no, but you're parallel. It's like when you're in a plane, you go up, you look up at the sun, and then when you
And it
get
gets closer?
and
Does
then when
it
you
get closer
lower,
when you go up in a plane?
you look across at the sun. Explain that.
I'm sorry. Somebody talked over you a second. Chemo. So you go up in a plane, and then what?
On the ground, you look up at the sun.
You can't
Go
look
to
up at the
plane.
sun in a plane. Or do you mean
No,
like a
when you
jet?
when you are on the ground, you look up.
Yeah.
You look up at the sun.
Yes.
Right when you're on the ground, right, and then when you go to plane, the plane, you're level with the sun. It's next to you.
Well,
Above
that's only true. That's only true in depending on the
and
hour of the
again,
day.
now you're gonna give me some bunk and tell me you're done with me.
No. So now let me address your point. No, I never say what you're saying is bunk. I haven't said that at all. So, when you can see the plane, or when you can see the sun outside the window, it depends on the hour of the day. Because if it's overhead, say at like 12 o'clock, and it's directly overhead, it'll still be overhead when you're in the plane. The only time we see it outside of the windows is later in the early and later hours of the day, where it's getting closer to the horizon. So your observation, you're making two different observations, because we can also see the sun as being near level with us during the later parts of the day. Given how high up in a plane you are, the number of hours in a day where the sun will appear to be in front of us are more, because we're so high up and we can see farther to our horizon. But there'll still be hours in the day where it's directly overhead. So now what?
Again, you haven't been explained that when we've gone to the highest altitude.
No, I just explained to you this attribute. So you need to deal with what I've actually just said. You need to either refute what I just said to you, or you need to address it in some meaningful way. That's part of having a conversation. You don't get to just leap off.
I haven't explained anything here.
But I did.
You know,
I literally just explained to you that depending on the hour of the day will decide the sun's position in the sky and your relative
we know that
perspective.
when you're on the ground and you see the horizon, it's not really on the ground. That's just an illusion. Again,
I didn't say the sun's on the ground. I didn't say the sun's on the ground. I said when you're on the
sun
ground.
is always in the sky,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
it's never down. It's
No.
never level
I said
with you.
it'll
Yes?
appear closer to the horizon.
So it's never level with you when you're on the ground. Yes, get it right.
It can appear that way. Yeah.
Exactly, it's an illusion. That's not what that isn't what's really happening. Right?
Okay, yeah, it's not, because it's just our Earth is spinning away from where I am on Earth is spinning away from the sun, so I can't see.
That same position where you stand at the beach. And look at the
No,
sun.
so if we were on a plane, the sun would always be up above us. It would never be able to reach the horizon.
I'm trying to explain to you that we see the sun level with us when we're in a plane.
In a plane.
hovering
No,
just-
except that I just told you that it can also be over your head.
But if it was 93 million miles away, it wouldn't be just your head or level at any time at any point.
Yes, it would. During look,
Something tells me he's never been in a.
Chemo. So here's the deal. I mean, you don't have to accept that the model's true, but I'll use the model to explain it to you. We're rotating away from it on a sphere, which means our relative position to the sun has changed. The sun and the Earth are still in the relative same positions, but our position on the surface of a sphere has changed relative to the sun. So we're looking at it from an angle as opposed to directly standing between it and the Earth. So we then come to a point where we're on a tangent to the sun, basically, and it'll look like it's right in front.
I absolutely love that you are patiently explaining how day works to somebody in their 30s. This is amazing.
Some of it is just I spend a lot of time teaching and working with people who are aggressively against being educated. So, it's just another fucking day at work.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
You realize you're not making any headway with chemo, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
that you haven't answered the question in any way, shape, or form. The sun is overhead. That should not be if it's 93 million miles away.
Why do you think that wouldn't be the case? So first, when you want to address the fact that you think that wouldn't be the case, what you need to do is create an accurate model that shows that we would see a difference in the angular position of the sun based on the Earth's rotation.
Don't have the math for that. We've been over that. Do we have the math for where we live? No, we don't.
Yeah.
Goldfish, just in case it has been explained to you, he doesn't know the difference between up and cardinal directions. That might be a good.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, what? Could you explain?
Like, he literally doesn't know the difference between up and down and cardinal directions.
He thinks up is north because that's the way they hang the map.
Yeah.
I'm not actually
Pretty
kidding.
much.
Yeah.
So if you're standing in a inertial frame of reference and you're looking out,
you lost it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Sorry, I'll bring it down. My apology. So you're standing there in front of your computer. I'll imagine you're sitting, although you might be standing. Maybe you're one of those guys, just like the standing desk. and I say, look up. and I say look up, the first thing you do is pull out a compass and try to find magnetic north. Is that how you view up, Chemo?
I'll give you some context. I had I streamed actually being in something.
This
something
is the
that's
sun
called
at
Anti-World, which is
121,000
it's a globe
feet.
scale.
And
I
if
was
the sun was really
looking
92
due
million miles
east,
away, you would not
and he
get
thought
these effects.
north.
Okay, so
was
flat
on the
earthers are
top of the
doing
screen.
the demonstrations that you ballers
Okay,
are failing to do.
so this
Just
is
talk
your
with
this
you,
is your link.
Goldfish. You know, it's just talk and astonishment.
Okay,
How can they
so
be
let me look at your
astonishing?
let me look at this. All right. What time of day is that at? What time of day is that taken?
Be astonished the rest of your life. Yes.
What time of day is that taken at, Chemo?
I'm gonna guess that's either like between 8 and 10 a.m. in the middle of summer, and
yeah.
Oh, I just
Anyone-
noticed that people
anyone-
think I'm loud. Am I really loud?
Yeah, we can adjust you, but you do boom a bit. Yeah, I think you need to
Yeah.
in this case, so I keep doing it.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm
I think
half
you're
Italian,
a bit too
and
close
we have,
to the mic.
we have
Yeah, you're
we have-
pretty close to
Possibly
your
you
mic.
have a better mic.
shut up and adjust yourself, damn it.
Yeah, you're clipping. You're clipping a bit because you're too close to.
Here, how's it?
Pull yourself
Well,
together.
I turned you down a little bit, so if you change now, then I'll have to change.
I'm sorry. I have a headset, and occasionally, like if I scratch my face, I'll bump the mic or something. Changes the mic's position.
Stop touching your fucking face, then. I mean, Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm so beautiful.
Well, I'm just saying.
So, what
can't
time
see
of
you.
day is this film taken at?
Yeah,
Chemo?
your guess
That's my question.
Yes, anybody's good.
What
guess?
What time of day was this taken at?
Take a guess.
No, I'm asking you. It's your source.
He's not
At
here.
noon, the sun should be up.
Did you notice he already changed the subject while you were talking?
Yeah.
It's all about
This is still the
astonishment.
sun. This is still the sun. So
Don't answer. It's a trick question.
Chemo, what time of day was this filmed at?
What the hell picture?
I said your guess is as good as mine. Yeah?
So you don't know. So you've done no legwork for this. Then I don't have to do any legwork. If you didn't do any legwork, I'm not doing any legwork.
What
I watched
video
your video
are we
and my
looking at?
explanation still stands.
Yeah, it
The
cannot
time
be
of day is
explained.
probably either early or late in the day. Judging by his little after image, I would say that he's talking about early day. So the sun is actually, given the angle from the plane's location to the sun, would appear to be in front of it. Yeah, looking out to the east.
Just like
But
when you look at the sun in the morning.
all over the internet, these hotspots that shouldn't be there.
Hotspot's
Bollocks. There's a hotspot in
again,
Hotspots don't
Hotspots.
exist. It's a made-up flurf term.
Yeah, D
Yeah,
Marble
that's-
has a hotspot on his head, so.
So here's the deal. There's a band of heat called the equator, and it's the part that, regardless of the tilt of the Earth, is relatively closest to the sun, and therefore is usually the hot.
He doesn't believe in the equator.
So,
No, he's
well, I
going-
know he doesn't
They,
believe in the
they
equator.
use these videos that have reflection.
Yeah, it's
High
reflections.
elevations
It's-
and claim
yeah.
that that's not. It's just.
Oh, I know what he's talking
That's
about.
how you explain it away. That's how that's.
No,
what
I don't
That's
explain it
for
away.
Wi-Fi, yo.
That's what ballers do. They explain it away to make
No,
it
no,
fit.
no. There's a difference
Shut up,
between
little man.
explaining away and providing an explanation. So if I ask you a question,
explanation, it's just explaining it away. It's just I'll give him an answer. Here's
so
all
Chemo,
over the world. people go
Chemo,
in
how
the
come,
and they record
on the flat
hotspots.
Earth? If the Earth is flat, how come we can't see the sun at all the time?
90 million miles away.
Chemo, how come it's not daytime at all hours of the day if the Earth is flat?
How do you explain night flights, Chemo?
What do you mean?
How
How
do
do
you
you
explain
explain
that?
that?
Goldfish, come on, that one's easy.
The sun directs its light in positions.
How does it direct its light? You're just explaining it away, Chemo. You're just explaining it away, Chemo.
Ballers, because
Chemo, you're just explaining it away. You need to provide proof that the sun
Because
is directed.
you are ballers, you also think the sun is a
like a
ball.
spotlight is shaded on one
It's
side.
not just
Yeah, and the light gets tired on its way to you and just stop.
If you're up in the air and you're looking at the sun and it's shaded, shouldn't it be shaded from you?
Look at the dirty air.
Goldfish.
Yeah, shouldn't it be shaded with your up next to it?
We only see one side of the Earth. We see one side of the Sun. We see one side of the Moon. What does that tell you?
Actually, I can't even see one side
Actually,
of the Earth. I'm too
we
small.
don't see just one side of the sun. The
All
sun actually
recorded
rotates around
history,
its own
so
axis
whoever
fast enough that you can see
recorded the
sunspots
moon since the
move.
beginning of
If you
time,
just
we've
film it
recorded
with
the
a
same
normal camera and
What
some
does that tell
actual
you?
filters, you can actually
Hey,
see
there's the
sunspots.
thing you
and
can do. We were talking about the sun, and he brought up a wonderful example, Chemo. Go get a sun filter
Yeah.
and use a regular
They
camera,
blew
and look at the sun,
pictures
and you'll see
the
sunspots.
same face of the Moon. What does that tell you?
What is
Since
what?
the beginning of time?
They'll just tell you the sun's not moving the surface of the sun.
The sun, sorry, the moon. It's been the same image since the beginning of time, the same face. What
It's
does that tell
totally
you?
locked with us. That's what it tells
hasn't actually. And
But
again, you
it
can
has
see the
road-
moon move. Take a picture of it every day throughout the month. You'll see libration, and you'll see portions of the moon you don't see every day.
Yeah.
One side. That's it. Just one side. That's whatever the maximum
it
is.
just
we
explained
see
to you that it's not one side. So now what? You have to
Again,
engage.
that's just a claim. Again, I should accept it. That's what the public do.
No, you need to you
know.
need to account for it and explain it.
Oh, for years we've only seen the one side of all of these objects. One side of the
years?
Earth. We've never seen this upside down
many
Australia.
years?
We've never seen that. Yeah, we've only seen one flat plain side. We've only seen one side of the sun, like the dots, that hot spot. We've only ever seen that. And with the so they're all
Please
discs.
try and stick with the sun, because that's what we were.
Prove it.
Okay, but
Prove
did-
it. What do you mean
did
prove
we
it?
see other
It's
sides
there
of
for you to
Mars or
see. You can
Venus?
see the moon one side, sun
Do we
one
see other
side.
sides of Mars and Venus, though?
Venus. What are you talking about, Venus?
Do you see other sides of Venus? Did you
Have we seen the other side of Venus?
I'm asking you, do we?
Oh, that's the
You
one.
seem to know a lot about this, so I wanted to know if you knew how many sides
No, I'm
of Venus
talking
do we
about the sun, the moon, and the Earth. We only see one side. We've only ever seen one side of it.
No,
What
the
does
sun
that
they already
tell
said is not true. So why are you saying that? What are you using as your reference to say that you're only seeing one side?
Oh, okay. So because NASA tells us it spins like a
No,
basketball.
no, 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 no. What are you using to say
Yeah,
that you only see one
As
side?
I'm looking, I'm telling you, I'm
What
giving you.
what is your reference that you're looking at?
Go ahead.
Then.
Give us the info, Chemo.
I'm doing it right now.
He looked
As
at
I'm
it.
watching.
He looked
More
at it.
than
It's a
one.
bright light.
He looked at it more than
NASA
once.
tells us that the sun spins like a basketball, but if you do your own research, you can see it spins like a clock. Okay.
What are you talking? It spins like a clock.
He's just changing the rotation of the axis from being
Chemo.
radial to being circumference.
He's talking
Yeah.
about field rotation. Basically.
Chemo. So what does this have to do with the fact that the sun can be overhead?
Oh, I'm saying that I've just shown you in a video there that it's very close to the Earth. Yeah.
No, it didn't
Why
show
is
that
that?
it was close to the Earth. That's an illusion created by your brain. You already talked about
Well, this
illusion.
is why,
Therefore-
until we have the technology to find out for sure who is correct.
Oh, we
yes?
do. We have.
Oh,
It's fine.
so that video, if you look in chat here, I picked a frame intentionally where the horizon is below the center of frame, meaning even if it's a lens that actually has distortions,
Again, we
it
don't
would
buy
be-
those
it would
quick
curve the
fixes into a
inverse
frame
way,
thing.
and
No.
it still curves the way it's supposed to if it's a sphere.
The sun is totally tangible. You could get there if you really wanted to. The sun is totally tangible. You could get there if you really wanted to, but you don't want to. You just wanna come online and complain, 'cause things don't seem like that way that they say, yeah, but the sun is totally tangible, it's what they say, so I believe them, why don't you? The sun, it's like totally tangible. You could get there if you really wanted to. Sure to join the military with designs on going into the Air Force, so you could join NASA, become an astronaut. 'Cause anyone can be an astronaut.
to argue against it. The sun is totally tangible. I can't believe you don't believe these things in academic model. The sun, it's totally tangible. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson said it's totally tangible, so it's gotta be totally tangible. I mean, oh my god, because like I looked into the science books and like, you know, I might not have graduated high school or anything, but like I totally think that like, I don't know, like, you know, it's like totally tangible. It has to be totally tangible, because if it's not totally tangible, then that would mean that like somebody was lying, and they're not lying. The sun is totally tangible. You could get there if you really wanted to. The sun is totally tangible. You could get there if you really wanted to. Anyone can be an astronaut. Everyone's gonna go to space. We're gonna go to space. Yeah. And there's like Lagrange points with satellites in parking lots in space. Lagrange points are parking lots in space. And there's like one, it's L3, and it's on the other side of the sun, because the sun's totally tangible. It's like, it's in the middle. You know what I mean? It's in the middle. So like, you know, it's totally tangible. You could go there if you really wanted to, but like, you know, I mean, I don't know.
What are you gonna do, Kimo? What are you gonna do when we show you the video?
Show me a real video of what
there's a new caveat. Show you a real video. So any video we show you that doesn't match what you showed us would be fake. Then would it?
What you gonna do, brother?
What are you gonna do?
You said I've just.
Well, Kimo,
what have you
He'll
proved?
say he can't speak on it because he doesn't know everything about it.
Yeah.
Where's this video? Where's the video?
Yeah. Okay. Somebody just link him a video.
I've been looking at the close sun in an airplane, and you're getting up alongside it.
It's not very fair, Goldfish.
If I flew at noon, wouldn't I get like close enough to touch it?
You gold, and you
do, brother. What you gonna do? What you gonna do, brother, when the Hulkster comes for you? Yeah, he'll hit the boot, then he drops the leg, then he grabs your girl, then he runs away. Yeah, what you gonna do, brother?
What? Your video is fake. You faked that. That's CGI. Now what, Kimo?
And NASA CGI and
yeah, it's CGI, Kimo. I can see it right there, because when you look at the way that the field rotation is occurring, you see a wiggle in the sunspot, and you should see a wiggle in the sunspot if it's rotating perfectly in a circle. So now what?
Wait. No, none of it was CGI, as far as I can tell. What I can't tell. Wait, hold on for a second. Wait. It wasn't CGI. This is what. It wasn't CGI. It was misinformation.
I mean, no, you're saying that it rotates like a cup all the way.
I'm playing the same game you are. I just don't believe your video. You need to present me with a
I'm saying that it rotates like not a video. Forward, like from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and then back on itself.
That's what it looks like.
He doesn't understand moving videos. He did that yesterday with the 9/11 thing, where it was a bunch of clips cut together in a row, and in between the clips, the person who made the video, the editor, put a black fade in, and he thought that was the news fading the footage out so you didn't get to see the whole thing. He doesn't understand video editing.
Oh, like this is definitely no. The one in the middle. The one in the middle.
Are we talking about the space-based video?
Curve, the one that says...
cartoon one, because that's the one with the field rotation thing, and it's a cartoon.
Well, the one that is not is also what it's doing is comparing one that has an equatorial mount where the field rotation is canceled, and where versus another one where there's field rotation where they're and he's comparing them side by side and trying to claim that the one that does not have field rotation is done at the same time period as the one it does, which is obviously not true.
Are you sure we're talking about field rotation?
Yeah, that's the one where it's real sun rotation versus NASA Earth is not spinning. It's that one with that title. You'll about a minute into the clip, it'll show a side by side where the left side has field rotation canceled by an equatorial melt of some kind, and the right side does not have field rotation canceled.
No, Chester, the one on the left is the Solar Dynamics Observatory. It's literally in space.
Okay, it isn't. Okay, yeah. Well, then, yeah, the field rotation is not there because there's no field rotation. It's in space, and then the one on the right is on the ground. Obviously, we have field rotation where there's no progression of the sunspots at all. It's just field rotation. You can tell by the way sunspots propagate.
Can we do
Did you
more
get all that,
kazoo?
But I feel like it's too late to a conclusion from this conversation.
Heard what was said again. Another explanation.
No. See, that's the thing, Chemo. At some point, Chemo, words have to be used to communicate.
He's too long. Too long. Didn't listen.
Too long. Didn't listen. Chemo. You sound like you smell like pickles.
You're trying to make
I don't know how to engage
goldfish.
you any deeper than this. I think it might just be because I'm really new that I'm still willing to engage you in an honest manner. But you know, man,
that's exactly right. Good.
If you sit there and you think that I'm gonna try to pull the wool over your eyes and confuse you and regurgitate, man, then you shouldn't engage. You should go with your flat Earth buddies, have a beer, and you should laugh.
How about this for a question to ask him? He said he got the explanation. Maybe he can explain the difference between a shot with and without field.
Yeah. Do you know how cameras work?
Oh, he doesn't know. Kimo didn't know that video was made up by a series of stills.
I really want to discuss this, and it's like you have the opportunity.
He can't tell me how it is that the Japanese
there are the right guys
continent of America to get to
you can speak to.
Did you ask him that for real?
Well, if it's a flat Earth, they must have had to, right? Now you have that.
Chemo, man. Honestly.
Flown over in Europe and everywhere. Everybody must have seen him coming to Pearl Harbor.
What's really funny though is that the person who made this video, you have to know the difference between the two to make this video. You have to be disingenuous to make this edit.
I'll tell you what, Chemo.
It's just about fun. All I hear. Like, all I'm hearing is the buzzing
of your tinnitus, right?
There's no way it can be. You guys are living there. And you just want to explain it away.
All I hear is tinnitus from all these logic bombs. All these logic bombs are deafening me. All I can hear is buzzing.
So the important thing here is when he says you just want to explain it away. No. The thing is, we have mechanisms that actually explains it. It's not about just explaining it away, making stuff up. It is literal mechanics that has predictive powers that we can explain why it happens and how it happens. Something you cannot do
again,
for
the
anything.
Explanations are good. They are good.
Not a single thing. Not one. Not one.
Chemo, what Household was trying to explain is we see this kind of stuff all the time in our own optic aids, or whether it be binoculars or telescopes. We see this stuff all the time. It's not something new to us. That's what Household was trying to explain to you.
It perfectly fits. The observations you're linking perfectly fits the sphere.
Why would I say provide it? You're like, if it's done it all the time.
Yeah, I didn't stutter at all, Chemo.
You say it's done all the time, we do it all the time. Why can't you provide it on command? Provide it now at your speech.
You mean how we do it to you every single time?
You say that you can explain it, you can do it for hundreds of years, problem.
Again, you mean like how we do every goddamn fucking single fucking time you actually join here, and you get provided exactly what you asked for, and then leave, come back, and ask for it again? Is that?
I cannot fault the explanation. When you're vital, then that's when you have a problem. Yeah?
No problem.
Oh, that's what the ball.
Well, you know what, Chemo?
It looks good, like, because like if you,
it's a great talk to you. I'm gonna go get a drink.
Say what happened.
If you can put yourself on pause for a second and give everybody else a break, it'd be really neat.
Actually sound like you know what you're talking about. It really do. The public will actually think, well, these guys, they know what they're talking about.
Gee, maybe who we do. Wow.
You probably do.
Don't be insulted in public. It's not like people saying you.
I got what you need. You into making love.
He just wants to damn public.
I think he goes to public on his own.
You guys were
I talked to my 4-year-old niece, and she had no idea what any of this meant. And therefore, the average person could possibly engage. I mean, Chemo, do you think that a person who spends all their time drinking pink dinner is really going to be able to engage with any of this stuff? Is that what you're trying to get at? We have to be able to reach out to these kind of people and explain it on their terms? Because I'll tell you what, the average person's terms are insufficient for explaining this level of detail. It's why we spent so long developing our language to this point, so we could actually, with great detail and precision, explain very complicated things. So then here's the problem we're going to run into. No, I'm providing the best explanation. I think you can There's a difference.
Go with the best evidence.
What? Oh, part of my explanation.
And if getting rubbed, nigga.
Here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. I've explained it in terms if you can understand.
We're gonna party like.
You didn't understand that.
We're gonna party like.
We're gonna party like. And then we can engage to a different level. Here, let me try right now. This is right. Light propagates through the medium of our Earth, which is the atmosphere, and then it bends, and then we can see it at different angles. Also, when you're on the outside of a sphere, you're at a different angle to the sun on a tangent. You're always on a tangent once you get to the outside of the sphere. So then what you have the problem of is that the sun will be in a different angular spot in the sky, and then you have to account for the height from the perceived horizon to the sun, and then figure out what you're seeing and how much curve there is to the Earth. And we can do that. We do it all the time, Chemo. We have to do it. It's how we shoot rockets through the air. It's how we fly planes.
Hey, Goldfish, hey,
That
relax.
sounds like
I've got something for Chemo. Chemo, I've got something for you. I've got something for you. Chemo,
all of the time.
You wanted evidence? I've got something for you.
What you were saying, I can't dispute what you said there.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's okay. Chemo, you want some evidence? I got some for you. This is something I did a year ago. All right, for this, there was a guy by the name of Scott. Wait for the name. This is a guy that claimed that field rotation was a.
Prove my point where you just explain like the public child.
No, you're a child. When I talk to normal people, I use normal words to understand.
Again,
I realize it's not your first language.
I'm trying to keep it. I want to get back on Goldfish. I want to be simple.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Are you a supporter of the Marine Corps?
Look, Chemo, I just posted a video that I made a year ago, and I actually timestamped it just for you to explain to you exactly what polar alignment is and what field rotation is. Because a guy by the name of not Scott Cohn, it was Steve Olson, was claiming that polar alignment and field rotation was one salad. And Astronomy Live tried to explain to him as best he could, but he couldn't because the guy was such an obstinate asshair. I actually made a video about it and decided to show Steve Olson what polar alignment and field rotation was, and if you would like to see what it is, if you would like to see what it is, here it is right here. I have the timestamp. And there's actually a part on Stellarium. There's actually a button on Stellarium that turns field rotation on and off. It's iconed by an equatorial mount telescope. Somebody just deleted my thing off the yeah, somebody just deleted it off. I'll try to say it again. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, if you want to know what field rotation is, yeah, go ahead. I was just trying to.
Also, you ever tried the Foresight 3D?
Excuse me?
That's
exactly what the Undertaker told
You guys learn reality. You want things to be real. Yes.
Are you a supporter of the Marine Corps? Absolutely. Great, because a former decorated member of the United States Marine Corps
Sounds silly, but it really works.
His name is John C.
Foresight 3D.
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to try that. I haven't done.
Yeah, you have to let your brain do the work though, because it'll just push us a little. There's a tutorial.
Yeah, what was it? The 3D towards through the solar system? That was
See, I need to know how to cross my ass for a long time now. Dude, that is so freaking
tiny. You just do a tiny
Guys, this video again is a problem because
no presupposition required.
Having proved A, you jumped to C, D, and so on. And that's the
I
problem
don't think
that
you
have
know
here.
what jump.
You have to prove the first thing. You can't just say, "Oh, here's the model, here's the board," without proving it in the first place.
Actually, that's something you can do. I would like you to present me a model, Chemo. I'll let you do that. Go present me a model, Chemo. Present me a model. That'll be fun for everybody involved. I think I'm engaging with a flat Earth model. Go do it. Go do it.
You understand that models cannot be created.
You know, I've already a flat Earth model's already been created. Want me to show it to you?
Yes. Oh my God. Please. Chemo, you can only create models.
You blocked me on Facebook, and now you're going to...
computer. We're gonna see what it do.
Maybe you never learned how to question things, because I've been questioning crap since I was in middle school. The minute I got into middle school, the science classes would sit there and tell me fantastical things, and I'd be like, well, how do we know any of that? And they'd go, well, you can go research. And then I did things like go to library, and then look up paper.
You want me to say that myself? Why do you keep close to it?
Libraries, right? That's where they bury the lies, right?
Libraries, I said. I'd say library.
Interesting. Library. Bury the lies.
Wow. No, there's an R in there. There's a second R.
Yes,
But
there's
there, I
always a
sent you
play
one you
on
might
the
like.
word.
It's a theological seminary.
It's like the Isle of Man was Lies of Man. There's always a play on the words, yeah?
No.
Yeah,
What about that
what was
flag?
it? Specifically Riley.
What about that Isle of Man flag?
Isle of Man. What?
Yeah, what about the flag? Do you have any symbolism in that we should be concerned about with flags?
Like I said, the reason why you guys have gotten away with this for so long is because of the public.
Because it's true?
Oh,
No,
that's
this is
exactly
the
why we
truth,
got
yeah.
away with all the other stuff for so long that got smashed into the dirt by science.
guys-
You're right.
What exactly are we getting away with in the first place?
Hold on, you guys speak about, oh, if this was a lie,
Hiding
it would
God.
come out. and-
What are we even
Hiding
getting
God
away
from
with?
chemo, guys.
What the hell are
Stop
we
hiding God from chemo. What's wrong with you? Getting
What does it mean?
I'm just, I get, for me, there is
Hold on. I've been accused of something. I need to address this. I'm not
Just
hiding
let
it from it.
chemo
I
find
just
God
put it on
already.
top of the fridge and he can't reach it, okay? It's not hidden. It's right there. All he has to do is get a fucking stool and there's his God. Just, chemo, get a goddamn stool. Look what you're doing.
Chemo.
Actually, you need a ladder.
And again, this is why I can
Chemo, by the way, I found the flat Earth model.
it's crippled with a few things.
I found the flat Earth model for you. Yes, I
astonished
posted it.
and you were shocked, and it's also a fear-based thing. Because like I said, this hasn't happened before. We haven't.
Fooling sailors for 800 years with accurate
This is
navigation.
the first time that you guys are realizing that people are gonna,
Chemo, I gave you
people are
what
going
you
to wake up the
wanted.
people that you were fooled.
But I gave you what you wanted. Here's the flat Earth model. I gave it to you.
More reasonable to
I'm not
believe,
kidding.
Chemo.
That really is a flat Earth model. I'm serious.
It's more reasonable to believe, Chemo, that you're afraid that everybody's telling you the truth and you are an idiot than we're afraid that the Earth is flat.
Chemo, I don't even think that if you had, like, pain, you could scare me.
If you think this is the ass-kissingest son you ever saw, give me a hell yeah! What? What?
A YouTuber a long time ago by the name, and big shout out to him. Oh Lord, I gotta. It's so hard to pronounce his YouTube name. It's Uyashiba. I have to post his name. It's Uyashiba. Made this on his own time. I haven't heard from the guy in a while too. He's a really cool guy. Probably got real jobs. But yeah, that's his YouTube account name. The guy is a pro at just making these kinds of interactive websites.
And you can just adjust everything, huh?
Yeah, everything. So you like whatever anything that is a discrepancy even in the flat Earth community. Hey, 4,000 miles, no problem. 3,200, no problem.
Yeah, okay, so if you look at this model he has sent you, you'll see that the sun never leaves the visible range. And it never goes down to the horizon.
I don't believe
But
in
you
the
gotta remember
idea that
when the
man
sun has a backside
can make
that's
a
shaped.
model for something that they didn't create.
Yeah, but
That
I mean,
is
how much?
impossible.
It wouldn't just be the backside. It would be in such a way that we would literally be able to see us. It would look like a spotlight.
Too much to explain to make a model. It's too much. You would need
Too much for you.
too much for anybody. For boredom.
Not for me.
And they say nothing works. When I hear that, I kind of, it makes me feel warm inside because it's like, well, this must be really something fantastic. If they can't explain how this works where
Wait,
they
no,
live.
you just said you can't explain anything. You can't explain anything because we have to literally fly you into the fucking sun.
No, we humanity can't explain these things.
Yes, we can.
Yeah?
We just
Humanity
did.
includes all the people who can explain these things.
I
literally
shouldn't say explain because you do give lots of explanation. But I say to prove
The only difficulty in explaining things is if you try and do it on a flat Earth.
Holy crap!
Kimo,
Is the
your mom told me to tell you your goldfish crackers and juice box are ready.
Holy crap! In this model he made, does the diameter of the orbit expand on the sun?
Yeah.
It's almost like
Christ,
almost
Dude, he thought of everything. He thought of everything. You can literally like change the parameter of everything that you can think of.
What's your problem
Oh
then,
my
Kaiser? It means the Earth is flat then. What's your problem?
It doesn't match reality.
It doesn't match reality in any way, shape, or form.
I stand corrected, and no model can be designed or created. Yes.
If you try and match
it
it
already
to
has.
Anyway,
He thinks that. It needs to be said. I'm not sure if he's actually said so, but Kimo also thinks the only way to actually understand the world we live in is to be the one that created.
Yeah, he has said that.
Kimo has snack time.
Yeah, I stand by that too. You have to have designed this place, this universe, to know how everything works and understand the mechanics of this place. Just like if you were the designer.
It's the reverse.
Hey, Kimo.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead, man. I was just gonna say shit. I was just gonna be like, hey, man.
About the way a car works before he drives it.
Go ahead, go finish. I took your thunder, bro.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna be like, man, I don't need to know how food is digested. Shit.
We already know.
I do it a couple times a day. It works out pretty well for me.
You have it backwards, Kimo.
Ignorance is strength.
You don't need to have food to make a model of what? Whoa, stop a minute. To make a model of your body, what are you saying? Explain what you're saying here. In relation to making a model of the cosmos and talking about food going in your mouth.
All right. Here's the thing. You're thinking about it, or you're saying it backwards. Is what you're doing. You're saying that that scientists and astronomers, particularly, are trying to make what they want in their mind to fit what they see. It's the opposite of that. You see, Johannes Kepler 500 years ago, or 450 years ago, had the same problem. He wanted the everything he looked up at the sky to match what he in his mind thought to be what he called the nested worlds theory or hypothesis. Sorry, and he wanted what he thought in his mind to match what he saw in the sky, and he could not make it work to save his life. Just like the flat Earth, that you cannot make it work to save your life because you're trying to make in your mind what you want in your mind to fit what's in the sky. And when he realized that if he just looked at what was in the sky and made what he saw match, make the patterns that he saw in the sky match the mathematics that he was trying to use, then everything worked. And that's why you have the model currently today known as the Newtonian mechanics that works. Because we learn from the sky, and we take what we learn from the sky and we put it on the mass. We don't make what we contrive in our mind.
What I get from this is the same kind of character that we saw from Gold.
You didn't listen to anything. You didn't listen to a fucking word I just said.
What you said.
Not a fucking word.
What you said, but again, it's all philosophy here, because unless we can prove what we're talking about, it's just ideas.
Right, well, we can't. We already have.
We're explaining away. Everyone's explaining away the best that they can.
Well, show me an observation.
You've not shown anything.
No showing. Show me an observation. An observation in the sky that contradicts. Hold on. Show me an observation. Show me an observation. Stop. Yeah, I will, and I'm going to tell you.
That's my phrase.
No,
that's my phrase.
I'm not. No, it's not your phrase. It's anybody who has.
My phrase.
No, it's not. It's not your phrase. Show me an observation that contradicts a prediction. Show me an observation that contradicts a prediction made by Newtonian mechanics combined with general relativity, and I will not only denounce the realm of the globe Earth, but I will become a flat earther and contribute my entire life's devotion to it right now.
But we don't show around it.
Yeah, I know you don't because you can't. You can't. There's not a single observation. There's not one single observation that contradicts any prediction made by Newtonian mechanics or general relativity at all. There's not one that exists. It does not exist. Not one. And you will not provide any evidence otherwise.
What we're seeing here is a panic.
There's no.
All they're doing.
Or is it? You're not. You didn't listen to a single word I just said. There is not
really essential
contradiction.
Sports.
There's no more showing anything. Do not provide of what we speak about around these parts.
There is not a single observation that is contradicting
show me
a prediction made by the model. Not one. Just not one. Not one.
No. What have we asked? We've asked you to show us curvature, and you send us a manipulated video. No. You do not.
You sent us the manipulated video. Remember, I showed you a flat Earth model that proves that flat Earth doesn't work. So,
I don't believe in any models. If you think that model works,
well, if you don't believe in any models, what are you here for? What are you even talking about here for?
Just tell people to stop wasting their time. Don't just believe.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's wasting. You're wasting our time because I rely on these models because I need to plan ahead for events that I observe, that I do observational science. You don't do any observational science at all, so you're wasting my time. You're wasting our time being here, not the other way around.
Well, you're wasting your time researching things that you'll never be able to prove. That's the point.
No, because it works. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Kaiser could have used that valuable time to complain about something else.
Yeah. You know, like the shit going down in the UK right now.
Saying that you have to be, and I think this touched.
I'd rather talk about the Dankulator that just got.
I think this touched a chord with a lot of.
I'd rather talk about that.
I've seen it like this before.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
How can you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
How can you model this cosmos if you are not like the creator of it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's not even to say. That's not even to say that there is a creator. I'm saying that.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Are you talking about science or philosophy? You've lost me now.
The point, in order to model it, you have to say in your mind, this is not everything.
Yeah. Are you talking theologians shit, or are you talking about science? Philosophy, astrology, astrology, yeah, so theology and shit, yeah.
So, Theo.
Ontology.
Theo astrology.
Yeah, let's just call it bullshit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It reminds me of those people. Kind of, this level of argumentation reminds me of those people who said they didn't see light.
What? Sorry, you were interrupted by Massa.
And
you said it's like those people. That's all we heard.
I see Frank Lee, brother.
But you heard what Dal, you were listening to Dal today, you heard that he wants to ramp up this idea.
No, I didn't listen to Dal, I was working today.
Other flat earthers now, they've become lackadaisical, okay? And they're very relaxed on their morals. It's like about the vegan side, it's about this friendship, this kumbaya, and this is not what it's all about. This is not why we got into this in the first place. It was
Well, I'm sorry, Kimo, I missed Del tonight, and I'm really sorry about that. Can you sum up Del's show today for us all, please?
Basically, it was Russian vids going
on
and on and on and on. That was Del's show today.
No,
I didn't see that because I was here, but I just saw the
Del
first 5
barely got a word in.
Wow.
He kept bringing up veganism, and then he'd go, "Oh, I'm not pushing veganism," like, and he was just endlessly talking about it.
Right.
I heard that. That would take
a
some
good
doing
audience.
to stop Del getting a word in. Wow,
Okay, so
that's almost
growing,
what I watch.
completely growing. And
Okay, Spurs, see today when you showed the Mythbusters video of them firing a laser at the moon, why did you misrepresent it so completely? And when Riley had the question, how do you know they're firing it at the retroreflector? And the answer was in the very video that you wanted to play.
if there was any error or misjudgment, Tim Osmond was in the.
Don't blame Tim for your errors.
Tim was on the panel, and he would have certainly been more aware of any.
Tim didn't come in till
any
later.
wrongdoings on my
I
part.
was telling you in the live chat, and you said, "Oh, we've moved on."
And I thought Tim was perhaps a little rusty.
Oh, Tim was there, and he's been in this the longest, for the longest time, and
recently.
How come if the moon phase is caused by the shadow of the Earth, there's a straight line?
Yeah.
If the Earth is curved, then how come there's a straight line, dude?
Riley was asking you.
I was asking this question for you. It wasn't asking it for me. You guys, who was it?
You had the answer there, and you knew you had the fucking answer, and I pointed it out. You had the answer, and you weren't willing to go.
Man said, "Have you seen this video of Mythbusters?" So I wanted to show the guys, what
you didn't actually show it, did you? You just played like 5 seconds of it, and that was it.
I didn't want to get the copyright.
There wasn't even any
I wasn't
audio.
sure about copyright. Yeah.
Society is meeting here today, singing happy little lies on the right ship, Humana sailing far away with great determination and no destination. Lie, 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 lie. Yeah, nothing feels better than the spray of clean water and the whistling wind on a calm summer night. But you better believe that down in their quarters, some men are holding on for their delight. And a flatter society is somewhere far away, with their candlesticks and compasses, and a right ship Humana is well on its way, with great determination and no destination. Ship Humana is well on its way, with great determination and no destination. Lie, 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 lie,
Here we are. Here we are. Yeah. This one right here is for the people.
Some of the smart that's don't miss.
Can't read the language of Egyptian mummies on a flag or a moon, and can't find food for the starving tummies. Pay no mind to the youths, cause it's not like the future depends on it. We'll save the animals in the zoo, cause the chimpanzee them a make big money. This is how the media villages, on TV the picture is savages and villages, and the scientists still can't explain the pyramids. Evangelists making a living on the videos of ribs of the little kids, stereotyping the image of the images, and this is what the image is. You buy a car, key points, and all of a sudden you are say Indiana Jones. And I take out the gold and take out the scrolls and even the bird bones. Some of the worst paparazzis I've ever seen and ever known. For the worst on this place of the world can see, and that's all I will ever show. So the ones in the west will never move east and feel like it'll be a town. Get tricked by keeps it burning. Trench town man stop laugh and block off traffic. Then them we learn pop off and them start drop it. With the pin file long and it a beat rapid. Police come in a jeep and them can't stop it. Some say them a playboy rabbit. Get dropped like a bad habit. So no bother post off if you don't have it. Rastafari stands alone.
Out in the street, they call it murder.
To jam down, poor people are dead at random. Political violence can't done. Pure ghosts and phantom. The youth them get blind by stardom. Now the king of kings are called. Whole man to picnic. So wave on no one if you with me. To see this operation sick me. Them suit no fit me. To win election, them trick with them down to nothing at all. Come on, let's face it. I get our education's basic, and most of the youth them waste it. And when them waste it, that's when them take the guns, replace it. Then them don't stand a chance at all. And that's why enough little youth have up some fatmatic with the extra magazine in a them back pocket, and a bleach at night time in a some black jacket. All who not lock locks at them a lock rocket. Them a fully up a current like a shock socket. Them a run a road block which but the cops block it. And from now till a morning no stop clock it. If them run out of rounds a broke back ratchet. South side, north side, East coast, west coast. Yo. Cornwall, Middlesex and Surrey, y'all. Hey.
Out in the street, they call it murder.
Jamaica, 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 no. Jamaica, Jamaica.